Hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Talk with a Vulnerable Angel and Friends. I am your host, the Vulnerable Angel, Dominica May. If you're like me, you might be feeling a little disconnected from meaningful connections. Sometimes this can cause us to instinctively shut down and hide ourselves from the world when what we really need is to reach out and foster those connections. That's why I created this show where my friends and I get together to have deep and vulnerable conversations in the hope that it inspires others to go out and have similar conversations in the world. While you're watching, if you enjoy the show, please hit the subscribe button and follow us for more, because we do these episodes pretty regularly, but we don't have a set schedule for it. Joining me today are my friends Mike, an improviser from New York City, and Sharad, a writer in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And meanwhile, I am streaming from Oakland, California. Oh my goodness. I was at another screen, so I didn't see the eye thing until I flipped back.
That's
wow. Awesome. What is that, Mike? What are you eating?
They're just dried apple rings.
Oh my!
Mike,
I've never seen those.
Can I have one? Can you give me one?
An apple ring?
Really?
Yes. I want to see. There you go. It turned into a banana chip. What?
Wow!
Magic.
That's insane.
Sorry.
Now I've got like apple juice on the inside of my eyeglass.
Oh no!
How loud is my crunching? Is that some ASMR stuff right there?
Yeah, man.
So good.
Nice.
How's it going, everybody?
Going well.
Man. I feel like I already have some stuff I want to share just from the latest without like asking any questions right away.
Go for it.
So I had someone message me today who is a guy that I have known for a little over 20 years now. And he's the guy who inspired my my student short film Journey, which is also on this YouTube channel if anyone wants to watch it.
Good plug. Nice plug.
14 minutes long. It's short. And we don't talk very regularly. That this is a guy that like I was really into for a while when I met him, and my ex-husband was super jealous of him because I was like so into this guy, and I was still into him when I met my ex-husband, and he was kind of the reason that my relationship with my ex-husband started out as semi-open, because I'm like, I'll get involved with you, my as I said to my ex-husband at the time, but I want to have the freedom to hook up with this other guy who doesn't even live in Australia. Like he's from Canada. That's where I met him. And and so he messaged me today. He was like, I've seen that you've had a really tough year, like, wishing you all the best kind of thing. I'm like, you know what? I would love to have a catch up with you at some point. And it might happen. We'll see. And but I think it's awesome that we have stayed connected, even though we're not in regular contact. Like that's something that I like. Like he turned me down a couple of times. I'm like, okay, fine. It's okay. This is how bad it is. He came to my wedding with my ex-husband. Before the wedding, look, I'm getting vulnerable right now. I don't think I've written about any of this in my memoir either, but
fresh.
Before the wedding, he said, one of the things he said to me was, if you still want to sleep with me in 5 years, like we'll make that happen.
Nice.
We've never slept together, but like
yes,
we don't know. Like let's not make any aspersions. We haven't spoken that much in the last whatever many years, 16 years. Occasionally I met up with him when my daughter was just born in Boston, and he came out here to San Francisco quite a number of years ago. So I caught up with him then, but it's been a long time since we've caught up in person. Zissou says hello as well. Welcome.
Bonjour.
Hi, Zissou.
Zissou is someone who joined for my Lego streams. We're not building any Lego today. But feel free to still watch.
I do have an off-brand Lego.
Oh, wow. Where'd you get that from?
This is a Christmas present.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Sorry, I totally hijacked that. But it was perfect timing. It was just sitting here on my desk. But yeah.
Oh, wow.
Lego. Yeah.
Very cool.
I still just have my X-Men stuff that's partially built. Here's my Cyclops. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
He's
awesome.
gonna shoot you with his eye beams.
He's gonna beam you.
Also, it's been like 2 weeks since we've done this show, and I got my MacBook back. Last time I streamed this show, I had to switch up for my Chromebook because my MacBook would not turn back on. I'm like, no.
Did they figure out what was wrong with it?
They just had to like refresh like the software or something and
reformat it
back on. No, I didn't lose anything, and they didn't charge me anything either.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, this is amazing. I had no idea that Apple did this. Like free service. This is amazing. So I loved that. And so I'm back on my MacBook. But while I was there, I'm like, I'd paid for 2 hours of parking, and they were when I went to take it in, and I didn't need to be there for that long. So I went to is it Borders or Barnes and Noble that's still around? Whichever one of those.
Barnes and Noble is, Borders closed.
Oh, that's a shame.
So then I went to Barnes and Noble while I was there because they had one, and I found another box of questions.
Oh, nice.
It was on discount for $10, and it's made by the makers of Mortified. I don't know if you're familiar with Mortified.
No.
It's a I'm assuming it's the same people who run this show called Mortified in San Francisco and Oakland, where people get up and read from their teenage high school diaries.
Oh.
It is. It is great. I have a friend, Casey Trujillo, who I perform improv with, and I've been to see him perform the show a couple of times, and oh man, so cringe, but it's great.
So cringe.
I never wrote in my childhood diary that much, but what I did is if I find it, I will definitely read it for you guys.
That's
awesome. I unfortunately cannot, because my high school diary, I think at some point I must have been so embarrassed or ashamed of what was in there that I ripped out the pages of it. It was a Rugrats diary. Okay.
Oh,
I know. It was, and it had like a lock on it and everything. It was amazing. I ripped out the pages. In my bedroom, I set fire to it. And I singed the rug, like just like I don't know what I was thinking, right? So there was literally a burn patch on the carpet in my bedroom.
Do you remember what the content was about?
Oh yeah. I had this massive crush on this guy that I met in 6th grade, and it was mostly about my obsession with him. I'm pretty sure. And I think probably what happened was, oh man, this is so cringe. What happened was it's really embarrassing. I wrote him a secret admirer letter, and I posted it to his house and was like, meet me at this location at this time, right? And then he showed up there with a few of his friends, and then I acted like I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, oh my God. I'm just like, so I'm pretty sure like after the embarrassment of all of that, it was either that or after we got the internet and one or more of them like did this really crappy like Photoshop thing of me and him, and then like was sharing it on the internet, and I was like, oh my, I was mortified.
No.
Like that was the extent of bullying in the early days of the internet. In well, it was 99, I think that was.
Oh man,
that sucks.
Yeah. So, oof, man, I am glad that I am not entirely the same person anymore. I'm still cringe, but
in a way, it's kind of nice that AI exists, so that you can say,
that's not real."
Yeah,
that's
totally
AI.
not real. totally not. No, not at all.
That's funny.
All right, I'm just going to pull up this other comment from Zissou as well. No worries, but I do remember the Lego build. Thanks for remembering me. See,
Hey.
I have so few viewers that I remember when people actually show up. Also, Zissou said they were going to subscribe, so I think that was one of the other things. And also, I see the name in the list of recent subscribers still. So, yeah.
So when I was running my YouTube channel, I actually got a super fan.
Wow.
And they tuned in every single day, because like I was doing the show every single day. And they tuned in every single day. I never knew their actual name, because they were, at the time, they were a minor. So I was like, please, I only want your YouTube handle name. And then he would reach out and email me and be like, hey, like, I really enjoyed the show today. Here's a few ideas for next week's show. And I was like, this is so cool. And I wanted to engage more, but also like, you're a 14-year-old kid who lives in the UK. I don't need anyone calling me saying inappropriate conversations with this. So like we would correspond a little bit, but like I was so aware of like, this is like, that's the last thing that I need, or like the police calling me.
Yeah, that's it. That's the whole thing. Puffy Zach is in the chat. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, Zach. Zach, do you have time? Do you want to pop on the video as well? I know I messaged you, but you didn't reply. Let us know.
Or dare I say, the Poppy New Year?
Oh, nice. Puffy just had a birthday, so happy birthday and happy New Year to
Double trouble.
Zach.
Nice.
All right. Do we want to get started? Do you want to try this new deck with me?
Let's go for
it. Because this was
What?
That's not very improviser-esque of you.
No, but
and
this is a little different though. Like it's this, I don't know. It's got like question cards and like other like prompt cards. So
interesting.
I'm going to pull something from both decks and we'll see what we figure out, I guess.
That's what she said.
I was literally about to do the same thing. Let's see what she pulls out. There you go.
Oh.
Yeah. Whip it out. Go on, whip it out.
Wait, Zach's between a meeting, so just seeing what's on. Thank you for joining us in the chat, Zach. Appreciate it.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah.
Keep asking those questions, Zach.
Yeah, feel free to ask us a question that you want us to answer if instead of making us pull stuff from the deck as well. Well,
you know Dominica. You don't know Sharad or myself. I assume you
know. He knows Sharad.
He knows
Sharad.
He's my whole button, yeah. He's good. He's great. He's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were both on my 90s teen horror movies stream together. Yeah. But they know each other from before that too.
Yeah.
I know what you did last stream.
Yeah. Oh.
All right. Okay, here we go. So the first card, the prompt card, is a moment when you were lost in imagination, and then
Between what age?
it doesn't matter, I guess. And then and then the prompt to inspire this story, I guess, or a moment, is sweets, and then it has like other words on here like ice cream shop, trending snacks, birthday cake, Halloween, and candy stash. Okay.
Lost in imagination. Do you have anything?
Yeah, Dominica, do you have anything?
Do I have anything when I was lost in imagination related to any of those things?
Lost in imagination regarding sweets or something tangentially related.
I know it's hard, right? Maybe this is not the best tech or the best way to do it.
There is one for me that I remember. This is a while back. I was with some friends. I think I was in my late teens, my late teens, and I was just eating something. I do remember it was sweet. I think it was a lollipop actually. And we were a group of friends, and we were by the pool. And as I was eating, I was just, as creatives go, you just drift in your mind and you go to space, right? And I didn't realize as I was eating, I was making eye contact with someone's cleavage, but I didn't realize at the time. I honestly was not. It wasn't in my idea. I was just, like you look and you just blank out. And like I said, we were by the pool, so I was literally just going like, and I'm sure it looked like I was just making a beeline straight for it. And the next thing I know, I just see, turning around, and everyone's going, "What the fuck, dude?" And I'm just like, huh? And later on, it became a huge joke, but I was just like, oh, never again. So whenever I do kind of zone out now, make sure you're always looking up. Don't look straight.
Unless you're sitting.
How can you tell though if you're zoning out? Like,
well,
you're not even paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had no idea that I was even looking at or whatever. So,
yes, that's right. I was zoning out.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Zoning out.
Mike is calling you on your shit, Sharad. You just wanted to look at that cleavage.
Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So.
Wow.
As a kid, I've always had a vivid imagination. So I guess that's why I asked the question of like between what ages, because even still, I catch my imagination always gets the better of me, not necessarily in a negative way, but I don't know. Like I dream things up. So I can't think of any one particular time I was caught in an imagination regarding sweets, but an ongoing thing. Sweets makes me think of Halloween, right? So I have always, when I was a kid, I don't know where to begin this story. Let's back up. So when I was a kid, at church, there's like the different classifications of age groups, right? So you have like the 12 to 13-year-olds, you have the 14 to 15-year-olds, 16 to 18, and then you have like anyone under 12 is regarded as primary, right? So you're in like the primary grade or whatever. So while I was still in primary, my brother and all of my brother's friends were in like the older kids age range. And so the older kids at church put on a haunted house for all of the younger kids, all the primary age kids. And they and again, this was from an 8-year-old's memory. But I remember this haunted house was so fucking cool. And there was like a coffin that somebody popped up out of. There was like that
Cool.
bowl full of like peeled grapes that they say are eyeballs, like all this stuff, right? There was this girl wrapped in toilet paper that you thought was a mummy. There was just all this stuff, like ambient noise, and that experience alone just captured my imagination as I grew. And every Halloween since then, including this last year, I have always wanted to, build this incredible kick-ass Halloween haunted house walkthrough experience thing. So this last Halloween, I finally got to do it in Minneapolis. A friend of ours in Minneapolis was diagnosed with ALS, and his motor skills have drastically reduced, and so all of the fun and the creativity and everything around their home, like inside their home and just day-to-day living, has changed from, hey, let's go out and see a show, hey, let's have family night, hey, let's go do a fun thing, or whatever, right? And it has become keeping him alive, basically. So they don't decorate for holidays because they physically can't, but I had the opportunity to go out and actually decorate their home for Halloween, and then set up, and I planned this whole walkthrough experience. What was the Marvel show that just came out, Agatha All Along? So if you're familiar with the show, Agatha All Along, the whole basis of the story is that Agatha is a witch who has lost her power, and in order to get her power back, she must now walk the Witch's Road. And so we created the Witch's Road at their house, where trick-or-treaters would come down the sidewalk, up the stairs, through this huge netted, purple lighted kind of tunnel that I built out of PVC piping.
Oh, wow.
And then across the yard, and there's this, like a 20-foot spider on the door. And then there was like all these different stations. Like the first station, we put a fire pit on their driveway, so the kids had to write their biggest fears on a piece of paper, throw it into the fire pit, and say, "You have no power over me." And
That's
then
awesome.
move up to me, to the next station, and I do like some card tricks, some card magic for them. Some of the kids are like, "I've seen this before. I know that trick works." And then some of the kids, like even the older kids, were like, how did you do that?" And it like blew their minds, right? And then they go to the graveyard to get their pictures taken, and then they go into the garage where we had another 20-foot spider, and it would drop down like in front of them. They had no idea. And then they go into like this weird, spooky thing, and hand in the cauldron, get a handful of candy, and then leave. And it was such a wonderful experience to have this like imagination thing in the back of my head, like, oh, I've always wanted to do this, and now I finally got to do it, and all the volunteers that came out, and like the whole reason that I kind of tie the ALS thing in is that we put a thing of like, if you enjoyed this experience, then please consider donating to ALS Minnesota. And like it meant so much to the family. It meant a lot to the trick-or-treaters, and it meant a lot to the people who lived on that street, because on that particular street in Minneapolis, the trick-or-treaters don't really come down to that street. They would always do the streets back here, but it was just too far out of the way. And so now everyone else on that street actually got real trick-or-treaters and like a constant influx. So it was really fun, and I think we're gonna do it again next year.
Nice.
Yay. Awesome.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Make sure you take some pictures and videos if you would, like when you're setting things up and when people come around.
And that's something we didn't do. I wanted to, but I was so busy building this whole thing. We just never got around to it, and I'm kicking myself. We didn't even get a photo. But
You were having too much fun. That's what happens when you have too much fun. You forget to take pictures and document it.
Yeah.
That's what I find. Yeah, like I felt like that when my several trips back to Malaysia that I had. It's like I did not take nearly as many pictures as what I should have to document the fact that I was catching up with all of these friends. I was just enjoying their company. Yeah. Look, Zissou likes your experience.
Ooh.
Oh, thanks, Zissou.
It
was really fun. I have like some Marco Polo videos where I was just showing my friends like as I was building it, but it's like nothing is impressive, and it's me just narrating everything that I just narrated to you. But
I'm ignoring my dad's message, and I'll pull them up though. I'm lost in another imagination world all the time. A sign of my autism. I'm seldom in real world, says my dad.
Interesting.
It seems like a good place to be.
Yeah.
I almost blocked my dad. I didn't know I could do that. You can also call it self-hypnosis. Yes, don't do that a lot. Anytime one disappears like that is hypnosis. Okay.
So it's interesting that you say hypnosis. Well, let's read this one first.
Reading a good book, driving from A to B, and not knowing how you got there are two common examples.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do that all the time. Like with the driving, I'm just spacing out. I'm just like driving on.
It seems like there's a loose thread connecting hypnosis to psychosis, because one of the best ways that psychosis was explained to me is, you know, like when you're dreaming, you see images in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But psychosis is seeing those same images while you're awake and trying to interact with them. And so, like the connection between Frank, what you were talking about with hypnosis and like not knowing how you got from A to B, seems like a very short distance to psychosis. I mean, maybe it's a bigger chasm than we realize, but
maybe.
I don't know.
Oh.
He also says, Mike's example shows how these moments stimulate real-world experiences. I don't have an answer for this. I'm like, when have I been lost in imagination related to sweets and snacks and things? I can't. My imagination gets carried away more in terms of like fantasy of what I want to happen in the future, that I don't stay present in what's happening now. Or I'll have like deja vu moments where like I'll experience something in the moment. I'm like, wait, I feel like I've had this experience before, or I've dreamed this experience before. And like that was a premonition of now, which is weird. But now this is making me think. So I follow this this autistic woman on Instagram, and I can't even remember her handle right now. She does a lot of great stuff. It's like I relate to a lot of things that she posts, and she was talking about how apparently I guess there's this like really popular podcast now which is related to being able to read people's minds or something if you're a nonverbal autistic.
Cool.
It's like I can't remember the name of that either, but she was talking about how autistic people at different levels can access different levels of that kind of otherworldly kind of realm. And I was like, I feel like I've had some of those kinds of experiences where I was like, I can predict what's going to happen based on like my mind just like puts pieces and things together of, you know, of like it's pattern recognition really. Autistic people very good at pattern recognition. and so like different things will come together. I was like, oh, this is going to happen. Like if this or that doesn't happen, then this outcome is going to be kind of the situation. So this doesn't really relate to what the question was, but that's kind of what was on my mind with that.
That's cool.
That's acceptable.
Yeah.
All right, my dad left another comment here. He suspects my early writing experiences are likely that. What, my premonition?
Tell us about your early writing.
my early writing experience is all fan fiction.
Maybe not all of them.
Yeah.
6th grade secret admirer.
No, that was. I sent that letter in 10th grade, I think. But I had a crush on him since 6th grade. For the one term that I spent at a public school, most of my primary years, or elementary years if you're American, most of my primary years were at a really small family-run school called the Family School.
Nice.
And yeah, but I was like, so it was, just like 2 classrooms, mixed age, kind of, you could just study whatever you wanted kind of thing, with no set curriculum. It was just like what, tailor-made for the student. That's vaguely what I recall. But I was like, once I got to 6th grade, a lot of the kids that were kind of my age had left already. And I was like, you know what? I want to try a public school. And my dad at the time was working at this public school as an art teacher. So I transferred there and I lasted 1 term. I was like, I want to go back. Like I couldn't take it. So I didn't go back to a public school until high school after that. It was like a really hard transition for me. But the family school was great in fostering my creativity. Like one of the things that I was able to do, that's where I wrote my fan fiction writing. I wrote a really long story that was, I think it had like some of Aladdin characters in it and and stuff, because that was what was popular back in the day. Was that 92, right? Well, I wrote an Alvin and the Chipmunks play, which I staged, and I played Jeanette from the Chipettes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so those are some of my early writing experiences.
Please tell me somebody filmed that.
I do not have a video of that. I do, or I should have video of me dancing to my self-choreographed dance of Just Around the River Bend from Pocahontas, though.
Just around the river bend.
But I will probably not share that because I'm wearing a Pocahontas outfit, and that these days probably ran fun. Right?
Okay, speaking of embarrassing home videos that we have secretly filmed ourselves doing, oh man, this is as cringe as it was for you to admit your secret admirer thing. This is just as cringe for me.
Please, I need to not be alone.
This is so embarrassing. I totally take ownership of it, and I make fun of it now. But this is so. I can't believe I thought this was an actual good idea. So I had just come home from my Mormon mission in Ireland. So I was, 21?
And older than I was when I did my cringe thing. Look, I did cringe stuff back in October, which I've talked about on the last week's stream. So, cringe happens at any age.
It totally does. It totally does. My wife will definitely tell you I still make cringy statements from time to time. So my first girlfriend ever, I never had a girlfriend. I never dated during high school or middle school or anything, because my parents were always like, oh, well, you can't focus on relationships. You need to get yourself ready to
say as it looks like Lord. You're jacking off 2 dicks at the same time.
So,
Stay in school, kids.
I keep interrupting, but I couldn't help myself.
Get the helicopter going.
Yeah.
So I dated this girl, and I will keep her name out of it. Let's call her April O'Neil from
Nice.
the Ninja Turtles. So we'll call her April. So April was this girl that I went to church with, and we kind of grew up together. I was a few years older. Doesn't matter, whatever. So I'm 21. She just graduated high school, so she's 18, and she was accepted to Brigham Young University in Utah. And so I stayed in Pennsylvania. We dated for like 3 months, and then she moved to Utah to go to school, which was like a summer relationship kind of a thing, right? So shortly after she left, I was missing her so much that, as we all remember, 1999, the movie Armageddon came out. And don't want to close my eyes. So I took the family camcorder, put it in the middle.
No.
Yes, I put it in the middle of the living room, and I lip synced this song to her, but with like real deep emotion of what I thought, like, oh, this is going to be such a beautiful romantic gesture. She's going to love this. It's going to be so sweet and endearing. She's going to watch it and cry. Oh boy. I found it a few years ago, and actually, no, my mom found it.
Oh no.
My mom found it and digitized it and put it in a compilation of like, there were like 40 or 50 different like home videos that she had digitized, and this was one of them. And it was like, I still have the CD somewhere. I have to find it.
Wait,
but
does that mean that you never actually sent it to her, or is this
no,
copy?
I did. I made copies.
Oh wow! Okay.
All right. For posterity, for posterity, of course.
And so, and it goes on. It doesn't stop with me going, don't. It goes on because like camcorders stop, record, pause. So I started doing this thing where I would go record, and it would just be my face. It would cut to my face going, and then it would cut. Like I would like reach behind the camcorder, like push the off button, change my position. So from her perspective, the video kept going.
So you edited the thing as well.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It was so terrible. I have to find this and show it to you.
You have to.
So bad.
I want to see this.
It's so bad.
It's
that sounds
reminding me
amazing.
of my first short comedy sketch that I filmed. I filmed on old family camcorder, but I remember editing it on the VCR to edit it all together and like submitted.
Nice. We had
submitted
it.
Out. I submitted it to like a short film festival. Did not go anywhere. Like it was terrible. But oh my god, this is what it was called. It was called How to Stalk a Celebrity.
Oh, nice. DIY. Okay.
It was like I got my brother into it with me, and oh man, I don't think I still have the video. I wish I did. Because yeah, that was really. It was a weird one. I don't know. I remember I was playing the celebrity. So my character that I was doing for kind of comedy stuff in 11th grade, I was wearing this navy blue trench coat inspired by this Australian comedian that I liked called Flacco. His real name is Paul Livingston, but he has this character called Flacco. And so it was inspired by this character. And as I was just like being like this character as the celebrity. And I still have that trench coat. I still have that trench coat.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's man memories. I've totally forgot that I did that that film. Thank you for bringing that back.
Sharad, what embarrassing home videos have you ever made?
Oh God, I think the worst one that I can think of is probably when when I was younger. I knew it wasn't a doubt. I knew I was going to be in the WWE and become like the world heavyweight champion. So as you would. And oh my God, I remember like my cousin. We both put face paint on, and we both recorded each other doing our promos to each other when we're about to face off in WrestleMania, that kind of thing. And I just remember just going, "Well, let me tell you something, brother," and it's like, "Rah," and just doing all that and doing the whole spiel. And I had no idea what I was talking about. I was talking about the stars aligning, and I was going to use my face, my fist, and smash it against his face and become the world heavyweight. I don't know what I was doing, but it sounded good at the time. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That reminds me when I was my brother and I were in high school. He was 3 years older than me, and he had a friend whose father was the local television personality for
nice.
our local community access, public access television station, and he gave us our own television show. And so
That's
once
awesome.
a month, yeah, it was rad. Once a month, we got a 30-minute segment or like a 20-minute segment, and we could do anything we wanted, like anything we wanted. And we did so many stupid, wackadoo sketches that were so dumb. But yeah, so we called the show The Show. It's called The Show. Yeah.
This stuff is
That's
bringing
awesome.
back a memory of. So I mentioned the family school that I went to for primary school, and sometimes we'd go out to different events to kind of promote the school, and so there were recordings of me on video, like for these promo videos and stuff. And I just remember this one where they kept showing me, like they were asking me a question, it's like, what do you have? And I'm like, I have an owie. Like nobody understood what I was talking about. Like, what's an owie? It's an owie.
Is it different from a boo-boo?
No, it's the same thing, but like that was what my family called, something that hurt. It was an owie.
It's an owie.
But nobody understood what I was talking about. Like, I don't know if is this an American thing? Like, do other Americans say owie?
I grew up like saying owie.
But
Or at least
Australians,
knowing what it was.
Australians had no idea what I was talking about. Like, I was raised by American parents in Australia, so some of my vocabulary was American vocabulary, and the Australians had no idea what I was talking about sometimes.
Wow.
Anytime I came to the US and went back to Australia, I came back with an American accent. Because it was like that influenced me at the time. So,
Jared, did you know what an owie was growing up?
No. I mean, I've heard of an ouchie. You're like, it's an ouchie. Okay, yeah, sure. An owie, no.
Because somebody pinches you and you go, ow.
Exactly, yeah.
It's an owie. In fact, okay, so here's a dumb story. I had this proclivity. You may have noticed, I have an oral fixation, right?
That's what she said.
So on social media, you always post like the screenshots of the three of us doing whatever. This should be mine.
Impossible. Can we turn this into a GIF?
I'll just use that for next week's promo video. Just you go. We'll all do it at once. What's going on?
Vulnerable with the vulnerable.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Where was I going with this?
I don't know.
Oh, yes. Oral fixation. So,
right.
I always needed something to do when I was in church because church is boring. Let's be honest. Church is boring, you guys. I'm not saying you can't get something out of a church service. That's why we go to church. But church is boring.
Yeah.
So I would find myself kind of like like on my dad's shoulder. Just I don't know, because I was a weird kid, and I just
What are you, a gremlin?
basically.
I think all kids do
No,
weird
no.
things, and we just pathologize these weird things. Like, that's a normal kid thing, surely, right?
Yeah. Like my dad was used to me just kind of like playfully biting his arm, right? Until one day we're in church and we're sitting all the way in the back, and I go like to his shoulder, and then I got a bunch of his skin through his suit jacket, and I just clamped down on it, and he goes, "Oh!" So loud. It was so loud. And the entire congregation goes, "What just happened?" And my brother doubled over laughing in the pews. And my mom just like, because you can't laugh in church. It's like a fart in church. You have to keep that laughter to yourself. So my mother is just laughing as quietly as she can. My brother's doubled over. And my dad is like, "What just happened? Why would you bite me?" And it was, oh my gosh, it was so stupid, but it was fun. It was fun.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I want to pull up Zach's comment here. So his interpretation of owie is, I was speaking French. Oh, oui.
Unless if you're feeling sad, then it might be an oh, oui.
There you go. There you go. Just a comedian to make a joke out of it. Like, it's over. That's why we have comedy people do this show.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Oh, he doesn't need any more.
No.
I love that bit. I'm never going to stop using that bit.
No, it's a classic.
That's the advantage of doing this post-pandemic era kind of show. We're doing it on a video. I like watching other podcasts podcasts or whatever that are people having conversations and they're doing in person, but you don't get to have this multiple time zone kind of situation there. Right?
True. Herod's receiving deliveries.
Yeah, man.
I'm warding off yawns.
You're sending me physical objects through the computer screen.
Well, I got an empty bowl.
One? No, you're done with that now. Oh, okay. All right. Let's see what it turns into this time. Oh my!
Oh,
what?
No.
It's a fire flower now.
Do that.
Awesome.
Here, pass me the fire flower.
You want it back?
Pass me the fire flower.
All right, okay.
I really want that.
Okay.
Wow. Oh, it's turned into green.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
That's so cool.
Wait. Okay. Pass me.
Do you want it?
Yeah, give it back.
Here you go. Pass it to you there to see if you get it.
Oh my god, it's like a
that's so
trophy.
cool.
That is just the coolest thing. Okay,
Wait, what does it say? Oh, well done. Look, well done.
Yay.
Well done. Hey, can I see that for a second?
You want it back?
Yes, please.
You ready?
Yeah.
Ready for it?
Pass it right over here for me. Whoa!
Oh, that's so cool.
You know what? I'm not going to ask for it back this time, but I could, but I won't. This is making me think
That's
of.
so
I just
cool.
started watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood with my daughter tonight, and so now it's making me think of that because like they're transmogrifying things.
It keeps changing. Yeah.
That was fun.
That was good fun.
Bit we just created.
Amazing that there were so many things that we could turn things into. That's amazing.
You're
All
amazing. Right. You are the alchemist.
But
Oh.
maybe I'm just an angel though. But it's like maybe I'm a Jesus kind of angel where we're transmogrifying because he turned water into wine, so we're just turning other
Why
things
not?
into other things, right? Anyway, before I get on with the next question, I'll just remind our viewers, if you want us to answer a question while you're watching live, feel free to throw us a question in the chat.
Some dirty ones.
Yeah,
The
we're happy
dirtier, the
to
better.
answer those kinds of dirty ones. Do you want to know more about any of the things that we've
Can
talked
I-
about in the past?
Can I tell you guys a really dirty joke?
Yeah.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Well, it's not so much of a joke as it's just a really dirty short story. You ready?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
The pig rolled around in the mud.
That's so dirty,
It's
man.
Look at your face. Oh, that was
I know
great.
you're going to get me banned on YouTube. Oh no!
I don't write them.
Dirty girl.
If you're not watching with us live now, also, why not? Like, what's going on? No, that's
Yeah,
fine.
why not?
I'm happy with viewers watching us later. I love looking at the analytics and seeing people have
If
been
people
showing
are
up.
watching this later, can
and-
they write questions into you? Like, is there an email address that people can write
Well,
to?
Or a comment section.
I receive all of the comments like by email, or I see them in the analytics section or whatever, the dashboard of YouTube. So feel free to leave a comment on any of the videos that you're watching, and I will bring it up in our next stream. Because I would love to have viewer questions for us to answer as well. That would be awesome. And if you're watching and not subscribing, why not? Like I've had multiple, like noticing multiple people will watch an entire live stream. We go for like 3.5 hours sometimes, right? And people have been watching the whole thing but not subscribing. Yeah, it's fine. I don't subscribe to a lot of the people I watch on YouTube either. But it is the best way to find out when I'm live, I think. Subscribing and getting notifications. So do that. Help me grow. And then maybe eventually I will be able to monetize my channel again, because I can't right now. I have in the past before the rules changed.
Oh dear.
Those rules.
Now you have to have, I think, 100 subscribers before you can monetize, plus 4,000 watch hours. I think I'm at like
In one calendar year.
in one calendar.
Or not a calendar year, but a 12-month period.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
365 days, and I think I'm at like maybe 72 watch hours or something now, which is thanks to these streams, which is amazing. But we'll see how things go. All right, you want another question from this deck? What's this deck called again? I can't believe I did that. Do you want another question from that? Or you want to do it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's pick. Let's see. I don't know who Richard Simmons is, so that's not going to be helpful.
Hang on, whoa. Now you have to read it, because I love Richard Simmons. He just died, by the way.
Okay, well, in honor of him, you let me know if you want a prompt for this, like an additional prompt for this as well. A moment when you had more spirit than a Richard Simmons workout video.
Oh Jesus.
Oh my gosh. Are you familiar with Sharad?
Yeah. Everyone knows. I mean, aside from Dominica, I think everyone knows.
I'm clueless when it comes to workout stuff.
You wanna describe it?
I reckon if you saw a picture of him or a video of him, you'd know who he is. So he's like about yay high. He's like always wearing singlets, like long, like big bushy hair. He's always like very upbeat, high voice.
Maybe.
I'm sure if you look at him, like open up a tab or look in your phone, type him in. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, maybe.
So Richard Simmons was an at-home exercise guru from the 80s. He had this series of tapes that you could order away for, and then receive in your home called Sweatin' to the Oldies. And it was all of these like classic oldies songs like sugar pie, honey bunch, sugar pie, you know, I love you. Like those classic 1940s, 1950s, 1960s songs. And he would create these dance programs to help you lose weight. It was just an aerobics program that you did at home while you sweat to the oldies. And he always had the shortest of shorts. In fact, he was on Whose Line Is It Anyway? He was on the American version of Whose Line Is It Anyway with Ryan Stiles, Colin Mockery, and
was it Brad Sherwood?
No, Brad Sherwood wasn't on that episode. It was the guy who would sing. Why can't I think of his name?
Not Greg Proops?
Nope, the other standard guy who was always in every episode, along with Ryan and Colin.
I didn't
Wayne
know
Brady.
that.
It was
Okay.
Wayne Brady.
And why don't I know? I never watched that show, but I saw Wayne Brady perform in a musical last year.
I was on a television show with Wayne Brady.
Wow.
It was a game show.
You were on TV.
Anyway, but yeah, so Richard Simmons is such a powerhouse of energy. He's like Robin Williams in terms of energy. He just has that manic, like, hey, oh, let's go over here. Oh, look at this. Oh, like he's never not on, and he's so fast and so quick. It is Richard Simmons.
There you go.
You know, you're telling me about how people would get access to his videos reminded me of, during my childhood, the way that my mum got new CDs is she subscribed to this
Columbia
Doubleday. I think it was called Doubleday.
Okay.
And you like. She had to pick, a new CD each month or 2 months or whatever it was, and put in orders for them, and just mail order CDs. Like this was the 90s, right? Like, can you imagine? Like that sort of thing doesn't happen now. It's like you just download your music on your phone.
It was the Columbia. What was it called? The Columbia Publishers Clearinghouse. It was something. No, Publishers Clearinghouse was a sweepstakes thing, but yeah, it was a whole like. Yeah, I tried to get my parents to let me do it for CDs and tapes. It was big for tapes, but I mean, it was all a pyramid scheme, right?
Oh yeah.
The whole crux was that you could get like, you can buy any CD on this list for a penny for 1 cent, and but you have to buy the subscription. You like,
which was like $100 or something.
Yeah, before subscription services were like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Oh, the kinds of businesses that have gone out of business today.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Those were the days.
All right. So, do you have an answer? Do you want me to pull a topic related, like to inspire?
I don't even remember the question.
A moment when you had more spirit than a Richard Simmons workout video. Do you want the prompt? I
think that makes it harder if I'm truly being honest.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it should be one or the other.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay.
Sharad?
I think for me, I'll never forget this. I'm sure both of you will relate. It was the first time I ever did stand-up, ever. And I just remember needing so much liquid courage to go on stage because, like, I was in the bar, and it was just like, like I just remember, like, it's like, oh, I'm so nervous, and I just remember just throwing them back, getting up on stage, making sure. And I remember I recorded my lines phonetically, and I would just play them back for days and days and days, just so I would get it word for word for word, including the pauses and everything. And oh god, it was just so scary, and it's just something that I'll never forget.
How'd you do?
I got like maybe one laugh. The rest of it was just like. So I mean, like the nice thing was, I remember, was like the host. It was for a one night stand actually, which I'm sure, which Dominique is aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And they were really kind, and the audience knew that this was for first. I was a first timer, so they were very generous. But in my mind, I was just like, I'm bombing up here so bad, because like I remember I asked someone to record it for me, and when I played it back, the only laughter I was getting was like the polite kind, and I was like, oh no, it was awful. But thankfully after that, I got better and better. But that whole night, I was just like, I had that rush where I couldn't sleep. I was buzzing. And yeah, I mean, it's an experience like that I still remember vividly to this day.
But you know what, Sharad? Just because you in your heart know that you did really badly in that performance doesn't mean that there was not somebody in the audience that thought that you were amazing. And I say this because right, I'm gonna take you back to a story about Lee, who I talked about in my last stream. One of the things that helped me become friends with him in the first place was because he told me that he had seen me perform. This was before he even started doing stand-up comedy himself. He saw me perform at Time Out Comedy Thursday at Zouk nightclub in February 2010. And that was my last performance before I took a years-long break.
Keep going. I have to open a window. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Go for it.
I did really badly at that night. I was like, this is terrible. But
you're in Zouk. That's a big venue.
Yeah, that's sure. But like, it's a venue that's, because it's a nightclub, people were like kind of talk a lot, so they're not actually paying attention some of the time. So I did terribly that night. I'm like, oh, this is awful. But Lee, like, one of my things at the time was like I had this whole anime schoolgirl outfit going on. I had blue hair, I think, at the time, or it might have been red hair. I don't remember what color it was at that particular moment because I changed it a lot. And so when after I met Lee, he was like, yeah, I saw that show. I really enjoyed your performance. Like, he let me know that he was too shy to come up and say hi. Like, I was like, how did you like me from that performance? I
think the school probably gave him a little bit of something.
And so. So like, I later asked him, I was like, did you have a crush on me from that? Like, cause like I could not understand. I couldn't comprehend. Why would you like? I did not get like any laughs or anything as I remembered. Yeah, and it turned out that he did have a crush on me. So like that's our history. Like, we became friends with him, knowing that he had a crush on me. A couple of years before we ever met in person, because he was too shy to say hi to me on that night, which I just think is hilarious. So that's my point, Sharad. Somebody in the audience could have developed a crush on you. No. Even though you did really, really badly.
Note to self: the next time you think you might flop on stage, wear a schoolgirl outfit. One person will definitely get the horn. So yeah.
Yeah, it probably looks even better. Honestly.
Mike, don't tell me you have one lying around. Oh, he probably has one lying around.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I do. My cats are doing something weird in the hallway.
All right, go for it. Yeah.
Something's happening. So I can still hear you. I'll be right back.
All right.
It's all right. Okay. It's right. Okay, so this is reminding me of relatedly, but more recently than that. Not long before the end of my marriage, my ex-husband bought me this Sailor Moon outfit that was too small for me.
Oh no!
For starters, but like also, I'm like, this is so cringe. I don't I don't want to wear this. And it was like one of those things where I'm just like, as we were separating things for the divorce, I'm just like, you can keep this. Like, I
From
don't
me to
want,
you.
like, have this Sailor Moon outfit, which you gave me, but you're probably not going to be able to use with any of your other women because they're even larger than I am.
Oh dear. Good luck.
But I have no idea if he still has it. But that gives you some insight into my ex-husband's sexual fantasies. Great for you. I'm sorry.
Sharad, something I was going to say about your stand-up set is, well, two things, really. One, kind of piggybacking off of what Dominica had mentioned, you being on stage. I mean, yeah, sure, there may be people in the audience who might madly fall in love with you. But the other thing about being on stage is that it doesn't matter so much if you bomb or if you fail, because whatever level of confidence you have while you're on stage delivering your material gives other people confidence. Just seeing how well or how poorly you do gives other people a little bit of a litmus test. And I don't mean that as
no. I know.
Yeah.
Like, if this fucking asshole can do it, so can I, right? So yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. And it helps to give other people confidence that, like, oh, maybe, granted, it's hard, but if he can do it, what's stopping me from trying as well?
Right.
The second thing I was going to say is about the content, and this is something that I was just teaching my wife's improv team about earlier tonight, which is, so we did that one word at a time story. You know, we're all sitting around in a circle. You know, you say once, you say upon, I say time, blah, blah, blah. Like, we just tell a story one word at a time, right? And so the first round we did it, everyone's trying to be the center of attention. Everyone's trying to be funny. Everyone's trying to be the
like once upon a penis. You like that kind of thing.
Yes. And of course, like, when everyone is trying to be funny, the stew gets ruined, right? Everyone tries to add their own thing, but it's not complementary to each other. And so the second round we did it, I said, let's try to create a very plain, boring, mundane story. And we did. But the thing about it is that when the story was over, everybody laughed. Not because it was a funny story, and I had to point this out, is that we were tension building. Even though, like, it was just a very plain, mundane story, you could feel that tension starting to build. And it wasn't the story itself that made comedy, it was the edit that made comedy. And if I can get on my high horse for a moment about Bill Cosby. What? Bill Cosby? Yeah.
It went from that all the way down.
So, okay.
I'll hear you out. I'll hear you out.
That's fun.
It needs to be acknowledged that Bill Cosby is a filthy piece of shit, and he deserves to go back to prison, and he never should have been let out, and he deserves to pay for all of his crimes. He's a filthy, horrible racist. He's probably racist too. But he's
both.
He's a filthy, horrible rapist. That said, his comedy still holds up. Take out all the Spanish Fly references, which are also pretty despicable. But if you look at the structure of his comedy, it's perfect because he is building tension. He will go 5 minutes without a laugh. Sometimes. But it's all serving the purpose to get the laugh, to break the tension. And he was such a master of his craft at the time because he could do that in a way that nobody else figured out how to do that yet. He was a storyteller, and he wasn't focused on the laughs per minute. He was focused on building and breaking tension. And that was his real true gift, that dirty, filthy rapist. So as much as as much as it hurts to give him credit, I mean,
you know, there's something to be said about that. If you're a gifted storyteller, it's easier to talk people into situations that they don't want to be in.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, his drugs definitely helped.
There's that too,
Yeah.
right? But
That old chestnut. Yeah.
to get somebody to the vulnerable position to be able to drug them in the first place, right? I think probably also requires some level of speaking ability to manipulate them. So,
The silver tongue.
Yeah. So that's that.
Not that that's a negative quality, because there's plenty of people that are charismatic, but it's what he did with his talent that was so nefarious. That's really what I mean, because he was America's dad.
Yeah,
he was America's dad. And we loved him and worshipped him. I had an opportunity to meet him once. And
I had a ticket to one of his shows when all of this stuff came out, and I was so glad that it got cancelled, because I'm like, what do I do now? So, yeah. Yeah.
That's bad. That's rough.
Yeah.
But that's what happens, you know. I've also seen look, I saw Louis C.K. live before all of the stuff about him came out, and I was like, God damn, like it's
how is anyone to know, you know?
Well, apparently that was a known thing for a while, apparently. I think, you know,
was it?
Well, it was known in certain circles.
In certain circles, it was. But I had not been aware of it. So when it's someone like that who raps it, like, because his comedy made you think that he couldn't possibly be someone like that, right? Because he seemed more feminist minded, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so same with like Joss Whedon, right? When the stuff about him came out. And Neil Gaiman. Oh my god, there's so many, right? And it's like, look, but that's one of the ways that they can hook you, and it makes it really hard to trust the people that you want to trust when people like that, you learn what's actually going on behind closed doors.
Well, I mean, comedy makes you laugh, or rather the comedian makes you laugh. And if you laugh, you like the comedian. Just the sheer act of laughing means that you like the thing that they said. And if you like the thing that they said, by extension, you like the person. And so there's this weird psychological thing that goes on where, like, and that's where a lot of manipulation happens as well, right? If you, as a narcissist, I think about this all the time. You want people to like you, so you say things to get them to like you, and then you manipulate them. You do the thing that, why would you be thinking that? Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. I mean, some, like, I don't know. I know I've done things that I've felt like I was manipulating people afterwards. You know, this is reminding me of, at some point I'll get to the comments that are in the chat, but this is reminding me of, so when I went back to Malaysia last year, no, God, 2 years ago, 2025 now. When I went back to Malaysia in 2023 and, you know, reconnected with Lee, one of the things I said to him was like, I'm so sorry, like, for how I was back in the day, you know, 10 years ago. And because I had felt like, you know, reflecting back on my behavior with him in 2014, I was like, man, I was kind of manipulative. And so one of the things I apologized for was, like, I felt like I manipulated him into coming up to take care of me when I was on vacation with my kids in a place on the Malaysian coast called Charating. And I was like super depressed at the time, and he was really busy with comedy shows on like either side of the trip, and I was like begging him to come up and see me, and eventually he did, and like he tried to, you know, he surprised me because he was making it seem like that he wasn't going to be able to make it. I was like, but like, I really felt like I manipulated him into giving me what I wanted because of how, like, what the things I said, because I was super depressed. I wasn't thinking like I'm trying to manipulate him, but hindsight, that's kind of what I felt like I was doing. And yeah, that, you know, I think we all have those moments of trying to manipulate people that we want in our lives for in whatever capacity.
I do think that there's a difference between being, maybe this is the wrong word, but manipulative versus selfish. Maybe selfish is the wrong word, but there's because sometimes, you know, we think of ourselves and in our own problems, in our own situations, we get caught up on it, that subconsciously we just end up using our own desires as the subconscious movement. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I think it's verbal diarrhea is painting some kind of a picture here.
All right, I should probably pull up some of these comments.
Yeah, go for it.
Lego Timmy is in the chat as well. Welcome,
Timmy.
Timmy also likes you, so subscribe to my channel because of my Lego streams. We're not building Lego again today, but thank you for joining.
To answer your question, Lego Timmy, it is going well.
Wait, there's a question. My dad has a question for us as well, but I will bring up.
Your dad also said something about Richard Simmons too.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up those questions before I pull up his question, because sorry, I'm gonna pull up those other comments before I pull up his question. There was another one a while back that I didn't pull up. So several minutes ago, like.
That's cool.
Our discussion was taking him to his teen years and teens and 20s when his research into parapsychology.
Very cool.
Interesting.
Very cool.
I like making people think. That's another good thing about these things that come up. All right, the Richard Simmons comment here. Richard Simmons was so out there that later they made jokes about him, like the jokes made about the actor from Walker, Texas Ranger, all about overdoing tasks.
It's true. Like, he really, like, that kind of became, he became a punchline, but he embraced the punchline so that he didn't get to be affected by it, but he got to control that narrative.
You know what? This is weird. I don't know. I thought about this before when you were telling your story, Mike, about doing the video of your lip syncing.
For my girlfriend,
yeah. And it reminded me, and I don't know why this just prompted me to remember it again, but it reminded me of this time where I karaoke'd Alanis Morissette's "Head Over Heels" on a webcam.
Nice.
That is one of the private videos on this YouTube channel that nobody can see. But I did that and sent it to the guy that I was just getting involved with at the time.
Head over feet.
So I'm all about all of that stuff. I am so cringe with music. I can't remember if this is something that I've spoken about on any of my streams in the past or not, but you know, last year a lot of the songs that were coming up on my YouTube music were songs that would make me think of my ex Lee. I was like, are you sending me subliminal messages through like across continents that make me think this is what you're thinking of me? Like, that's literally what was going through my mind. Because partly because when he and I were together in 2023, there was this period where the YouTube music algorithm was just broken. Like, for whatever reason, I could ask it to play whatever song. And then after a few songs, it would keep repeating the same 3 or 4 songs over and over again.
Interesting.
And I was like, are these all songs that are like the things that Lee is thinking about me right now? Like, is this a message of how he feels about, like, that's literally what was going through my head when this was happening. I was like, because this is so weird. Like, how does an algorithm break like that just keeps playing the same 3 or 4 songs over and over again? And songs that like I had never asked Google to play before, I'd never heard before. And one of them was Rio Speedwagon's what's it called now? I have to look it up on my phone. But it played again just the other day, and I was like, are you fucking with me? Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like,
Lego Timmy,
I don't need
Yeah.
I don't need any more of this. I don't need any more reminders of this stuff, right? Because it's like, okay, New Year's Eve especially was Keep On Loving You was the song by Rio.
Right.
Oh, that's
Nice.
such a good one.
That's a nice
I
one.
had never heard this song before it kept repeating on this thing, and so that came up the other day. So anyway, New Year's Eve was a hard time for me because it was the anniversary of when I went back to see Lee in Malaysia and like the trip that was like the best trip I ever had with him, and then ended in ghosting. So like it was not a good time for me. Fortunately I didn't like, get drunk and send him any drunk messages or anything
Good.
like that. Like I was like very
Good.
careful. I'm not gonna do anything like that.
Don't drunken text if you can. No.
I don't think I've ever tried to drunk message him. Thank goodness. Have I ever tried to drunk message any of my exes? I don't think so. Because I don't drink very much, so that probably helps.
That helps.
Oh, which is reminding me. Okay, so I joined TikTok in the last few days, right? And since I last streamed, and my first video I posted was a clip from this show from 2 episodes ago. And I didn't notice until like a couple of days later that TikTok had limited the audience of it because it thought that it represented people drinking. And I'm like, there was nobody drinking alcohol here or no one taking any illicit drugs. What is like, why? So I appealed it and it was fine. But like, it has 4 views as a result of that auto flagging for supposedly drugs or alcohol. I'm like,
I don't know, maybe someone was watching the video and someone was like, yeah, these guys are on something.
No, maybe no, I don't think so. I think it was because like in the clip I'm putting chapstick on, so it thought I was snorting drugs or something. Like just the AI probably thought something like that.
Just like rubbing stuff into your gums, going.
Now I'm going to like
get this video banned, Sharad.
You didn't see that. You didn't see that.
But like now I'm just like, do I need to be cautious about? No, cautious. Like,
Lego Timmy, cover your eyes.
Not even like I drink water. I like that was what I thought. Like, did it flag me drinking water? Like,
well, they think that she's just downing vodka.
No, but yeah, no. But I watched the video back. I wasn't even drinking water in it, so it was just. I think it was just the chapstick thing. I was like, whatever. Like,
that's weird. Yeah.
Stupid AI flagging things.
Yeah, but Donald Trump can fillet a microphone, and that's okay.
Well, because he does it so well. You see,
he has so much practice.
He's got the technique down. He's got the technique down. Give him that.
If you have the audience to support you, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
And he has proved that. Can we explore some of the questions or some of the comments?
Yeah.
That I will get back
to.
Good
call.
All right. Let's see. Which one did you? Okay, we've got.
Just pick one.
Because we do have a question, so I'll do the comments that my dad says first. So Bill Cosby, good and bad in everyone. I saw him live at university.
Oh, wow.
Well, back in the day, nobody knew anything about them then. Jordan Peterson talking about shadow self shows the importance of knowing self and our ability to go down dark paths. You know what? That is exactly why I did the live stream discussion about baby reindeer. And one of the things that I said on that stream was one of the reasons that I didn't watch that show for months until after I'd finished my memoir was because I was terrified I was going to watch it and see myself in the stalker character. I am terrified of turning into somebody like that because I know like how obsessive I can be. Like, and I've talked about how, you know, I flew back to Malaysia to try and get answers out of Lee, and
which isn't cheap, by the way.
No,
it's
it's not.
Flight, yeah.
Well, I use frequent flyer points, so that helped.
Still,
that helped. Still had to pay for the accommodation. I was there for like 2 weeks almost, or about 2 weeks. Was I there for 3 weekends? I think so. Anyway, yeah, I think I was there for 2 weeks. So it still, that's kind of stalkerish behavior. Like I was going, and I have jokes about this in my stand-up. I was like, I'm either, you know, the hero in a rom-com or a stalker, and like the only way that I'm going to know which of those I am is how he, depends on how he reacts, right? So
surprise!
That was kind of, yeah. So you know, that's that. Anyway, that's why I was able to talk to him after he ghosted me, because I did that. Anyway, so let's see. My dad's other question before his question.
This is the one that I thought was particularly interesting.
Pride is Satan's sin, perhaps better word than selfish. Yeah.
I agree. I highly agree with that.
So well done, there's manipulation, but then there's pride, right? So I think our pride oftentimes gets the better of us.
Oh yeah.
And
we do not want to admit that we're wrong, because
what was that word that you said?
Wrong? You're not familiar with that word. Yeah. My ex-husband was also unfamiliar with that word.
That's a good one.
Nice.
That's very good.
Nice.
Sorry. Look, I'm not ashamed of like, you know, that I'm not ashamed to talk about kind of some of the reasons that my marriage failed. And that was one of them. He would never admit when he was wrong, ever. It was always my fault. And anything that happened, it was like, oh, it's your fault that you're spending too much time doing improv. You're not doing enough for me. Like it didn't matter how much I tried to do, like it was never enough. So anyway, he never admitted his failures, and if multiple people tried to call him out on something, he would say that they were ganging up on him. We've talked about me being in a polyamorous relationship with him before, and he had a girlfriend who was living with us for some time. And there was a while, like at one point, she and I were both frustrated with him for the same thing. And we tried to have a family meeting or whatever. I think he probably called it. And we were both like commenting. I was like, you know, you could try harder doing this or that, you know, that would be more supportive. And he was just like, why are you both ganging up on me? I was like, so, you know, like maybe listen and your relationships will last rather than so yeah.
Criticism is hard.
Yeah, it is. Like, and I get defensive too. Like I have definitely been in those situations, but like So defensiveness can be my immediate reaction, and then I will take some time away and think about what a person said to me and reflect on it, and then I might come back and apologize. Sometimes it could be too late. It really depends on how the other person feels about your actions. But you know, it's something that we all need to work on, right? Is less reactivity, less survival instincts from fear-based responses. Sit with things what people tell us for a moment before it's like, how much do I care about this relationship? Is that more important to me than being right? Apparently not for my ex-husband.
Ooh, shots fired.
Look, I doubt he's watching this. Look, right now, I think I've talked about this very briefly before. He filed an appeal on our child support order because he didn't like the judge's decision.
Recently?
And, last year we had a child support hearing. And so the appeal, just before New Year's, he submitted his opening brief to the court. It was rejected the first time because he didn't cite things properly. But
rookie mistake.
He did submit, and he's a lawyer.
Oh boy,
he's not admitted to practice law in California though, so he doesn't know what he's doing. But so I'm at the point now. I spent most of yesterday doing my own research for writing my reply. I'm not a lawyer either, but I've spoken to lawyers about this case. He's got no argument. He's got no legs to stand on. Really. But I'm I should probably still file a response anyway. I'm not going to pay for a lawyer to do it because it's a waste of money.
Protect yourself.
But I should at least file something, right? So right now, I was feeling really energized yesterday because I'm doing all this research. I'm gonna get you back. Shit, screw you. You are one of the. I don't know how much I can say about this, but there was one thing that he wrote in there that is flat out false that he claims in his opening brief, and I'm just did you even read the court transcript properly? So I'm looking forward to calling that out.
Very cool, man.
Jeez. Well, shit.
But he is never wrong. He's never wrong.
Next
until
question.
He is.
Next, yeah. Well, he'll never admit that he is, even if he is. All right. The next question comes from my dad, our viewer in the chat. Yes, a question: worst stage fright experience.
Hold on. You said that incorrectly.
Wait, what?
Question?
A question. Sorry, I apologize. There is a question mark there.
I had
a question?
That's the smart aleck in me. I had to point that out.
No. Look, I, unlike my ex-husband, can admit when I'm wrong. I'm just gonna keep calling that stuff out. It's nothing.
It's a good callback.
Coming back to that well.
We're comedians. We're all comedians here.
Why not?
I'm pretty sure there's somewhere that I wrote about in my memoir. I said, that's a callback. I was and of course that's the comedian of me to use that term callback in this situation. Anyway, a question?
A question?
Worst stage fright experience. By the way, will probably disappear in 25 minutes. How long ago was this? About 25 minutes ago. Oops, he'll watch the answer. Or so.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, enjoying the show. He always enjoys the show. I appreciate that he tunes in. But if has left, he will come back and watch the answer anyway. So, what was worst stage fright experience? Can you think of any examples? I'm sure I have had them. I've been on stage a ton now, but
So I can't. I don't think that I get stage fright. There's like the nervousness before you go on stage, which is not just common, but I think it's healthy.
mm,
Because anytime you're nervous before you go up, in whatever capacity, even if you're like delivering, kind of a speech at work or a presentation or whatever that formality looks like, I think nerves keep you on your toes. It's a way of helping your physiology is keeping you sharp and in the moment. So I think nerves are great. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I can't think of like a stage fright. I know the worst show I've ever done.
Go for that.
Yes.
This was really bad. It was so bad. I left comedy for about 9 months.
Oh gosh.
I walked away. It was so bad. I was so embarrassed by it. And I still have this on tape somewhere, or like filmed on a hard drive or something. So I had been doing solo improv because nobody. I'll give you the condensed story. Nobody invited me to be on their improv teams, so I decided to do improv all by myself. That's how we started doing solo improv. Because, man, you're not going to invite me. I'm going to go do it by myself, man. But
Good for you, man.
Oh, thanks. None of the improv clubs or the improv theaters would let me have stage time because at the time, now consider this is like 2009, no one was doing solo improv. It was an unheard of thing. And it was experimental and avant-garde, and like no one was going to give me like an hour on stage or even 15 minutes, let alone. So Jackie Mason, do you guys know who Jackie Mason is? Like
No.
big famous comedian from the 1960s. He had a daughter who was trying to follow in her father's footsteps. So she started producing, her name is Shiva. Shiva Mason was producing stand-up shows at the New York Comedy Club, a really divey, shitty comedy club, but whatever. So she reached out to me through Facebook. To this day, I have no idea how she found me or why she would even think to reach out. But she must have seen a video or something of me because she asked if I would do 5 minutes at her stand-up show. And I was like, okay. Jackie Mason's daughter is asking me to do 5 minutes during a show. Yes, please. And it wasn't the best improv I've ever done because I was still trying to figure out the form and how does solo improv work, right? And so it went well enough that she kept asking me to come back week after week. And so I got all this stage time just doing something that I was trying to figure out how to do, right? So I eventually built myself up enough so that I was doing a solid 10 minutes at the Eastville Comedy Club in the East Village. I know, very original. So I reached out to a friend of mine who was producing his own improv show, like a full hour-long show, and it was a 90-minute show, and he had 3 acts, three teams rather. So I was like, hey, I'm looking for some more stage time. How much time can you give me? And he goes, well, the sets are 25 minutes long, but can you really do solo improv for 25 minutes? And I'm like, I'm limited at 10. I've got more in me. I can do more. He's like, okay. So he gave me a 25-minute spot. And of course, I was the first team up. And do you guys know Sashir Zamita?
No.
She's on Agatha All Along show. She was one of the witches.
Oh, okay.
So she used to be a New York improviser.
Oh,
And
cool.
she went on after me in a team. I still have the poster. I can't remember their team name, but to this day, I'm like, oh, she had to watch me do that. It was so bad. So the suggestion I got was blow dart or like blow dart, something like that. So it was, again, keep in mind, can't stress this enough. It was a 25-minute set. In the
Wow.
first 3 minutes, I established that I was an old hermit. Rule number one: never, establish a scene where you're the only character. But whatever. I was an old hermit who lived in the middle of the woods, swamp, and he hunted toads, and he killed them with blow dart guns. And then he would bring the toads home to his shack in the middle of the swamp, where he had a 600-pound woman tied up hostage that he forced to cook the toads and the frogs for him to eat. A police officer showed up looking for the woman who went missing. The old hermit killed the police officer and forced the 600-pound woman to cook him so I could eat him. That all happened in the first 3 minutes.
Wow.
And big backstory. Yeah.
I had decided, well, this is going to be a mono scene.
Oh no.
I wasn't going to do any like edits, right? For those of you who don't know what a mono scene is just, it's one scene that goes on for 25 minutes. So like when you watch television shows, there's like a break or a cut or an edit that goes to another place at a different time. This had no edits, no cuts, no breaks. It was just one continuous 25-minute story. So after that first 3 minutes, I just blacked out. I don't know what I did. It's all recorded, and I can't bring myself to watch it. But I blacked out, and I have no idea what I did for the rest of the 25 minutes. I know it was terrible. I know it was so bad. It didn't get a single laugh. Not a chuckle, not a guffaw. And I was so embarrassed that I just walked away for 9 months. I couldn't.
Wow.
I just couldn't bring myself to do improv anymore. I was so embarrassed.
Mono scenes are, I think, one of the most challenging long form formats in improv, just because, it's one scene. I've done it once, I think. And that was, I did with Alyssa Joy Lee from Honolulu.
Elisa!
Yeah. And sorry, I mispronounced her name because I'm normally reading it.
Well, it's spelled Alyssa, but it's pronounced Elisa. But yeah.
Potato.
She came up to San Francisco a few years back, and this was after my second time at the Improvaganza Honolulu Improv Festival, and during that festival, I got to be in a scene with her. Like at the end of the festival, there was like no, actually, I think it was the first festival that I went to. But she and I,
we met.
Yeah, the one that we met at. I think it was so at the end of the festival, they have a party with a mashup. Improvisers get to be put in teams and then perform. And so I got to be on her team for this. And then at the end of that night, Jonathan Pitts, I think Mike might have talked about him on a previous stream. He
slept in that bed right over there.
Yeah. So Chicago-based improviser who travels the world now. He suggested that she and I should do a duo together. So when she came up to San Francisco, like was it the following year? I think it might have been the following year. We got together and did a supernatural themed, like it was based on the TV show Supernatural, but we were these women hunters and we did a mono scene. And I love that show so much. It was so much fun. If you're interested in watching it, that is also on my YouTube channel. Go find it. The show is called Salt and Burn, We Fight Monsters. That was what we called the group / show. But yeah, it's challenging to do a mono scene.
But what was your biggest moment of stage fright?
Right. Yeah, that's the question. Biggest moment of stage fright. All I can think about is just how nerve-wracking it was to do stand-up comedy the first few times that I did it. I think because I started performing it when I was 16 years old, so I was pretty young.
Wow.
Nobody else
Whoa.
that was
That's awesome.
well, most other people were not, were actually legally allowed to be in those venues that they were performing in. But when I started, there was one person who was younger than me, a 15-year-old guy who went on to win the state finals of the raw comedy competition that I was part of, and went off to Melbourne to perform. So yeah, he was better than me. Yeah. Stuart Packham was his name, if anyone wants to look him up. I don't think he goes by that name anymore. But anyway.
Neil Packman?
Stuart Packham.
Stuart Packham.
Stuart Packham. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was his name. Yeah. So I think probably what would count more as stage fright would be even before then, when I was in high school. Like, I had wanted to be an actor for, ever since I was young, right? Like, my dad would shoot movies with us and stuff. So I loved being on the camera. But when I got to high school, I was such a shy kid, like, because I wasn't used to being around so many people at a school, and undiagnosed autistic, awkward around everyone, and did not connect with anyone, right? So in high school, I was just too nervous to really pursue acting in any kind of serious capacity. I just didn't think that I was capable of it. So when I was in drama class and we did some like school plays, I didn't want any lead roles. Like, I was too nervous to have any parts with significant dialogue. So I went for roles that had very few lines, so I didn't have to memorize much. So I think that probably comes from stage fright. Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
My senior year in high school, I was casting Guys and Dolls. And if you're familiar with the show, I played Arvide Abernathy, who was the main, the female lead's father. And in some ways, I was so upset that I didn't have more speaking lines. But when I actually went to go do it, I realized that I had such a hard time remembering my lines.
Yeah.
And I was so thankful that I didn't have all of those lines. And it was more like I was 18 years old, 17 years old. I couldn't articulate that to myself at the time. But now in the hindsight of
you can see why we do improv. Because you don't have to remember lines for improv.
I filmed a short film about 10 years ago. Same thing. We were on set and we were actually filming with legit high quality cameras, and we were on the clock. We had to finish the scene by a certain time because we had to GTFO, and I kept screwing up the takes because I kept dropping my lines. I was so enamored with everyone else. I was like, wow, you guys are doing so great. And then I kept dropping my lines.
That's very human.
I fortunately have not had that same experience when I've done short film stuff. I got cast in the lead role in a student short film called Go Your Own Way. Now that short film still hasn't been completed yet. Yeah, it was absolutely based on that song, and that song was used in the film. I got to pretend to be. No, I think I had to sing it while I was pretending to drive my car. This was so fun. I was pretending to drive my car while it was in my garage. Like they set it up so that
Nice.
it made it look like I was driving. It was filming me from my garage.
Nice.
Wow.
So fun. Yeah, and that's the only time I've played the lead in anything in film wise.
At least you got one.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it was such a fun experience. I wish it was finished so I could actually see if I did as well as I thought I did, or if I did terribly.
I'm sure you were great.
I got cast in that actually because I related so much to the main character. Like the main character, it was about her grieving the recent passing of her mother. And so I went into the audition talking about my own experience with my mum dying while I was quite young. And that was one of the reasons that I got the part. I think the other reason was I dressed very character. This is like a punky kind of character. I had like my weird color hair at the time. It was a mixture of
Are we going back to the schoolgirl motif again?
No, I wasn't at that time. I do have a picture from this. I had so one of my costume pieces, I had fishnet arm stocking things.
Yeah, very 2000s. Very cool.
But like my hair was like a mixture of purple and green, and it had faded right at that point, but it was still like there. And I had purple lipstick. I wore purple lipstick, I think, even to the audition. So yeah,
Nice.
I went all out for this thing, and it was one of my favorite acting experiences for sure.
That's cool, man.
Still connected with the director on Facebook, even though it was
Nice.
X number of years ago. I think this was back in 20.
Was your
Yes.
style anything like that?
A little bit of what's it called? Eisen Funk Pong? I think that's what the song is. Yeah. Oh wow.
Wow, I've not done any embarrassing dancing anywhere on film at all. I don't think. I think that's one of my cringe. Yeah, that should be my thing that I should try. But with all of the flack that Reagan has gotten, I've still never even watched that clip, right? But knowing that she's this Australian who got made fun of for dancing, I'm like, I don't know that I want to. Reprise or kind of play into that.
Embrace it. Why not?
Yeah. How about you, Sharad? What's your stage fright moment?
Oh God. Well, I think it really. I think it's just the fact that it was one of the first times that I did stand up, and I got a bit too drunk because I was so nervous. You see, and. I just remember I got up on stage and I was just like, I have no idea what I'm about to say. And I planned everything and I was so scared I completely forgot. So I had a 15-minute set and everyone afterwards was like, oh my God, you did so well. And I was like, I literally improv the whole thing. I was literally like, okay, hi, tell me about you, tell me about you, tell me about you. Yeah. I had it literally, as soon as I picked up the microphone, blank. And it was awful. And I was so scared. And everyone was like, oh, you did so well. And I was like, no, I didn't. It was awful. So I think it just goes to show that whenever you're going up on stage for anything, number one, don't get too fucked up. And number two, have a plan of what you're going to do on stage. Even if you're improvising something, go with the mindset that I'm going to improv. Don't go on stage and just go, let's improv. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's why structures and forms exist, right? Hey, guys, we're going to do a herald for you. Hey, guys, we're going to do an improvised movie. Hey, guys, we're going to do a mono scene. Like, you have a structure built in.
Yeah. That's order within the chaos.
Yeah.
I think there's only been one time that I've had alcohol before performing, and it was at Sharad. I don't know if you ever went to the Crack House.
But I have before it shut down.
Yeah, but in the early days of the Crack House, while I was still living in Malaysia, they had this weekly show called Hack the Crack, and it was improvised stand up. And I I got drunk before that show because I was like,
no.
maybe this was one of my worst stage right experience. I was terrified, but like I was also expecting the kind of improv that Mike and I do, not the kind of improv that it was. So like I went in there wanting to do scenes with my fellow comedians, and then discovering that I had to do improvised stand up. So like, oh crap. And so because I was drunk, one of the things that one of the I can't believe I'm admitting this on a live stream.
You listening, Frank?
Let's see if anyone comments about me being racist. Like that's
oh, here we go. This is the gold stuff. All right.
Look, Sharad, you have every right to comment on this afterwards, since you are Indian, and I'm going to be making a comment about this situation. Okay, so I felt bad about it afterwards. I'll preface it with this, okay? But I was drunk, and so one of the things that we had to do is we each got up and did 5 minutes of our actual stand-up material, and then someone from the other team had to get up and do that other comedian's stand-up material. So in my situation, I followed Prakash Daniel, who is
he's great. He's awesome.
He's this charismatic Indian comedian. He flirts with the audience, that kind of thing. I got up, and not only did I do his set, which I think at that point I kind of knew pretty well, because I knew these guys. I've seen him perform a bunch of times. But I got up and I was flirting with a female member of the audience, because he did that. Nice. But I also embodied his accent. And like, I'm like, I can't believe that I did that. Like, probably it was fine for me to get away with that in Malaysia. But like, I'm also very consciously aware of the fact that I'm a white girl. That's never appropriate. Like, I have a card game called Fun Employed, right? And the original edition of this game, it's a game where you have to you get various trait cards, and you have to apply for a job based on these traits. And one of the trait cards in the original version of the game is Indian accent. And I used this card game as the inspiration for my So You Want a Job improv show. So you can see I've been using card decks for a long time to inspire shows. And during a show, at one point, I pulled out the card that said Indian accent. I was like, nope, put it back in. I'm like, I can't. Not today. I am not going to make anyone be racist in this show. So, like, I'm very conscious of that, but I'm just like, I was drunk and Prakash was my friend. I didn't, at that time, I wasn't consciously thinking about the impact of that. But yeah, it was.
What was?
Oh, Sharad, you were gonna.
No, but what was his reaction afterwards? Was he like laughing with you?
I'm sure he was fine with it.
Yeah, exactly. Who gives a fuck, right? Who gives a fuck? Yeah.
But that's why, right now, I'm probably speaking to a predominantly American audience or Western audience, which has a very different perspective on this particular issue than what we might be like in Malaysia, for example. Look, we have a new viewer. Hello, Justin.
Happy New Year.
Good to have you here. And I was like, Happy New Year.
You're 33. I'm 42. Happy New Year.
Woo-hoo.
33 is also millennial. Like us, we're elderly millennials. But still millennial.
I want to go back to this faux racist
okay.
Let's do it.
Conversation for a moment. I have a few thoughts on this. First of all, we
Speaking
have
as a
all...
white person.
Say what now?
Speaking as a white person.
As the resident person who is correct, because I'm straight white male, right? So trifecta, you're welcome.
Just like my accent. No, but he's not American.
No, I have a few thoughts on this. One, we've all said and done things on stage that I think we regret. I very famously, I made a sexual assault comment to one of my teammates that were, in paying audience, and and at the time, just before, microsecond before it fell out of my mouth, I really felt like, A, oh, this is going to be funny. But B, I thought, well, this makes total sense for my character to say. Based on the conversation that we're having right now, I felt like it made perfect sense. In hindsight, nope, did not make sense. And it sucked the energy out of the room, and it was the wrong thing to say, and I recognize that. So I think we all need to give ourselves just a little bit of grace, because we have all said and done things on stage that we vehemently regret. Sure. Second point, regarding accents, specifically regarding accents, intrinsically, I don't think that there's anything wrong with doing an accent that is not yours, or that does not represent your own racial makeup in a public forum. I don't. What I do think is wrong is making fun of that cultural accent, poking fun at it, because that is not funny. If you're trying, if the joke is, hey, listen to this weird, silly way that these other people sound, well, that's degrading. That's not fun. But if you're actually trying to replicate something, in Dominica's case, here was this stand-up set by a friend of yours who is Indian, who speaks in an Indian accent. If your task was to replicate the set as best as you can, that's kind of the fun of it, right? So the point is that you're not poking fun at Indian culture. You're poking fun at this jamook over here.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it wasn't to Sharad. Like, don't confuse all the Indian.
No.
You were pointing to him.
I pointed this way, but whatever. This jabroni over here. You're poking fun at an individual person, trying to copy what they gave you. Also, the improv game accents, which we don't play anymore, because they're, and that's the thing with the general public, is that people don't make that distinction of, oh, well, you can't do accents because it's racist. It's not. Do you know what racism means? By definition, it is not racist. But it is so condescending if you do it with the intention of poking fun at that culture. And I think that's the distinction that nobody talks about, because nobody wants to think beyond that. And it's easier just to sit in our bubble and say, oh, that's offensive.
I think because historically, that's usually how accents are used.
You're 100% right. You are 100% right.
So,
Well, again, like, hello, white straight male over here. Like, that's what we do, right? We copy and borrow from other people's culture. And, we put Al Jolson in blackface and say, hey, this is entertainment, right?
Look, before we started the stream, Sharad and I were talking about Tropic Thunder. And how you probably couldn't make that movie these days because
I love that movie. It's so funny. Yeah, I love that movie.
I mean, you couldn't even make that movie in 2008.
No, you could not. I was stunned that came out and that people were fine with it.
Are you, well, here, let's ask a question. Dominica, are you okay with that? With that piece of art in that film exists?
Look, it's been a long time since I've watched Tropic Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the
Mhm.
time I was fine with it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what my perception of it would be today,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I've changed as a person since then, and I've learned more about the world and various things. So I would probably have to watch it again to offer
reevaluate.
a current opinion on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
Sharad, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, I love Tropic Thunder. To be honestly speaking, I don't like it's very interesting because I'm from the mindset that either it's all funny or it's none of it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I remember watching it and I absolutely loved it, and I still think it's funny. I mean, the fact
The
is
movie or the blackface?
both, because I mean, because they were so obvious about it. There was no, oh, we're doing this seriously, blah blah blah, blah. And it was so obvious and it was so in your face that it's a real slap to you that you're just like, holy shit, this is amazing, and I love it. I mean, in some ways, how is it any different to? Do you guys remember White Chicks, the David Wayne's film?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
It is different though, because in White Chicks you've got what black guys doing. It's reverse. It's fine when it's the minority culture making fun of it.
is
It
it?
is, yes, it's very different.
I disagree. I
Mm.
disagree.
Yep, me too.
But don't let me cut you off. I want you to finish your point, though.
It's like, the kind of comedy adage where it's okay to punch up but don't punch down.
Mhm.
That's kind of how I see it. So yeah, there if you're part of the majority dominant culture, you have less freedom to explore certain things.
Okay, so that I will agree with that. So like Charlie Chaplin, right? Classic example. His whole thing was anti-establishment, like fuck the system, fuck the police, fuck the rules that are actively trying to harm people, and all of his movies, without fail, were about those social issues, right? He was one of the first people to make fun of Adolf Hitler,
Yeah.
which eventually got him banned from the United States. So, but same thing. His whole thing was punching up. Let's punch up at authority. Or sorry. Let's punch down at authority. Am I getting this backwards? No, yeah. So he was the tramp. Sorry, yeah. He was the tramp. So he was punching up, saying, "You guys." In a sense, he was punching down while he was punching up, because the stuff that he was punching up at was the upper echelon, right? It was that.
Mhm.
It was the society. It was exactly what you were talking about. But with it's hard for me to argue against that, because it's the white chicks argument is exactly what that is. White culture is the mainstream. It's a fizz. It's not good. It's not bad.
It just is.
It
Yeah.
just is, right? And so I see that as the same thing of like, I don't see that style of blackface or whiteface as being offensive, because it's about the bigger commentary that's associated with it, right? So the story of White Chicks is they were trying to prove a point. Some Like It Hot, they were trying to prove a point. Mrs. Doubtfire trying to prove a point.
Yeah, see, I don't have a problem with Mrs. Doubtfire.
See, that's the thing. We pick and choose. We pick and choose. Well, no, this is fine, but this is horribly offensive, right? And with Tropic Thunder, the whole point of Robert Downey Jr. doing blackface, what's the line? I'm a dude playing a dude.
But dude dressed up as another dude.
Yeah. So the joke was not that he was in blackface.
Right.
The joke was that the Australian character he was playing was so obtuse to how wrong this is. And I think that's why that particular form of blackface should get a pass.
Yeah, I think that was the reason that it got a pass at the time that it was made as well. Because I'm pretty sure that even back then, blackface was a known thing that you shouldn't do.
Very taboo.
Yeah. Well, I remember I was watching I think it was a Joe Rogan clip where he had Robert Downey Jr. as a guest, and he asked him like, did you enjoy doing Tropic Thunder? Oh yeah, fuck yeah, one of my favorite things I ever did. Yeah, fuck yeah. And he's like, I loved it. And he's like, would you do it tomorrow? And he's like, absolutely not.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Because it's, there are certain things that are a product of its time, right?
Yeah.
And you can certainly not necessarily get away with today things that you could get away with in the past. The reason we were talking about Tropic Thunder in the first place is because Sharad asked me what I did for New Year's, and I said I watched Zoolander, and he was like, do you think Zoolander could be made today? And I'm like, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. They do a little bit of well, no, not quite, because they have other actors that are dressed up as the but then in Zoolander where they dress up as these janitors, right? But they have actually actors that come in their place, and it's only after they, Derek Zoolander wipes off his blackface that is actually him underneath.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, because he's not even.
It's not him.
He doesn't do blackface in it. There's just another actor
behind it. Yeah.
Behind it. Yeah.
So wait, the joke is that he's putting on blackface, but when you actually see him in blackface,
it's a black actor.
It's a black actor.
It's a black actor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's fine. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
That's a great gag.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, that was fun. That's one of my all-time favorite movies. I don't think that there's, I don't know. Yes, they're making fun of male models, but like it's such a fun movie. That pairing, Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, are one of my all-time favorite movie pairings.
Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah.
Zoolander. All of the Wes Anderson films they do together, except for I hate Meet the Parents.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I just not enjoyed it. I've tried to like watch it a couple of times because I love those guys so much, but I was not into it. I don't know.
Did you ever see the sequel, like Meet the Fockers?
Yeah, I watched that as well. I thought hopefully this one's better. I still was not a fan. Yeah.
I loved all three of them. I loved them all. I thought they were so. It took me a while. So, like, my understanding of what comedy was and then what comedy actually is was always slightly skewed growing up because I did live in a bubble and I was exposed to the world, but also I never really got to understand the world because nobody explained it to me. So Meet the Parents was one of those movies that everyone was raving about. And I watched it and I'm like, I think I like it, but I don't understand it. And then I had to watch it a few more times. Now I'm just like, I love those movies.
So if I've only watched it twice, I should probably watch it a few more times to then get it? Is that what you're saying?
No, you're smarter than me. You
But I didn't like it.
That's fine.
I mean, that's fine. It's subjective. You don't have to like everything. Yeah.
I remember like the first time I saw the Royal Tenenbaums, I was like, I'm not so sure about this. But the second time I saw it, I was like, oh man, this is amazing.
That is a genius film.
Yeah, it's so that was the film that made me fall in love with Wes Anderson films. Like some of his movies are not as great as others, but overall, like, it's great stuff. Yeah.
He peaked in his third film, The Royal Tenenbaums.
The Royal Tenenbaums. But you think that's his best?
Yes, I do.
Have you seen Grand Budapest Hotel?
I was going to say
seen
Grand
them all.
Budapest. Wow.
I've seen
Okay.
them all. Grand Budapest Hotel was fine.
And then what was the other one here? Not his most recent one, but the one before that. French Dispatch, I thought was incredible.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I thought that was interesting. Again, I didn't love it. It was interesting for what it was. It was fine. But I don't know. I feel like now Wes Anderson, including Grand Budapest, I think he is become, I don't want to say a parody of himself, but he has become too much of himself.
Too self-aware?
Yeah. Oh, well, this is my thing. This is what I do.
So now I have to do this.
You have to do it.
Brighter and bigger and more.
Oh, he branched out. Like when he did Isle of Dogs, that was quite
I thought that was
different.
great. Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
I thought it was
I think the biggest case of that happening to a director is probably M. Night Shyamalan. I think he believed his own hype and he pigeonholed himself.
And yet he still does all of those things, and he keeps making films.
His most recent film was not good, but
I think I watched some of his more recent films because you suggested that I should, Mike.
The Visit is so good.
I think Unbreakable was the one that you told me that I had to watch. Is that one? Was that one?
No, Unbreakable was the second.
Sixth Sense was his first one, yeah. Split was good.
Split was really good. Mm-hmm. Don't watch Glass.
Or Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah. Yeah, no, The Visit, I think, was one of his best. Yeah, that was really good. That was really, really good.
I saw, so I'm going back to Wes Anderson now. I saw Grand Budapest Hotel in the cinema with Lee. We were talking about him before. Yeah, I saw it. And it was, so I saw it in Malaysia, and but it was in this tiny theater in one of the major theater companies. But yeah, it was a really tiny theater, and it was packed. And like, I'm like, Malaysia, did you just underestimate how popular Wes Anderson is here?
Yeah, we do. We do. We do.
Yeah, so I saw that back to back with Hayao Miyazaki's The Wind Rises. So we saw both of those films back to back in the same theater. Like,
that's awesome.
Not just the same venue, but the same actual small theater. Yeah.
What are the most amount of movies you've ever seen in a movie theater in one day?
3.
3?
Dominica? I think it might just be 2, but I've done it a decent number of times. 6?
No way, jeez. Your ass would be asleep.
It started at 9:00 in the morning with Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, which all led up to the midnight release of the Avengers.
Oh, wow.
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 You know what? I think I did a Lord of the Rings screening like that just before, like when Return of the King came out. So I think we did an overnight in the theater, like from Fellowship through to Two Towers. And
so that's the equivalent of 6 films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
remember like bringing a pillow and a blanket to snuggle up to watch this film, these films back to back. Yeah, that's the only time that I've watched that many back to back.
So cool.
Very cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah. All right.
Next question.
Wait, let me check to see if there are any other chats that are worth bringing up. Like Justin was talking about wanting to come on the live stream, and I'm like, I have my guests. Yeah, I just chat with my friends on this, but I told him he could leave me a message if he wants to. Potentially in the future we can have a chat about it. No, that's it. He's and he said that he was from the US. He's American too.
Cool.
Justin, if you are still here and have a question for us to answer, deep, vulnerable, personal questions, feel free to drop us one of those questions in the chat. And we can answer, even if you can't come up on the video screen with us. You're welcome to do so. Otherwise, I will pick a new prompt card, I guess.
Go for it.
Do you want to have one of the other types of cards this time?
Sure.
Let's see.
I would like to choose card number 3.
Card number 3? Ooh, okay. No, this is a good one. Okay. Vices. So we're going to chat about vices. The speech bubble boxes on this are, for examples, smoking, sneaking booze, snacks, swearing, cheating. Cheating. What? Let's just have a chat about vices.
So the word vice is an interesting one, right?
Yeah.
So like if you think of what a vice is, it's a device that you put like a piece of wood or something else into.
True.
And then you screw it down so that it stays in place. So the vice has control of the object inside. There's so many things in my life like that. I mean, you say traditional vices like, ooh, booze, ooh, cigarettes, ooh, like whatever. For a long time, religion was my vice. A long time. I like to joke that Diet Coke is my vice, but, I think we all kowtow to caffeine. Yeah.
Common ones.
Sugar.
I guess the thing that's coming to mind for me at the moment, and I don't know if vice is the right term for this, but there was a long time that because I wasn't a popular girl, like guys just didn't find me attractive. And I have a lot of male friends and they'll be like, why do you say that? Like, no, guys just aren't attracted to me generally. Nowadays I can have more, but anyway, back in the day when I was
I got the pick of the lot
in high school and all of that, right? I was not popular and I didn't understand much about the romance world and all of that kind of thing, but I would say that I went after sexual encounters. I wasn't like, for want of a better word, a slut. I wasn't someone that slept around with people in general, but I felt like sex was the way to get a guy to give me validation and to define my worth, right? Because I didn't have that kind of attention from guys. And so I felt like I had to use my sexual prowess, like going back to the friend that I talked about at the very beginning of this stream, the Canadian guy who I met like just over 20 years ago. I tried to seduce him. I was 20. Okay. I was a virgin at the time. I met him because I was there to lose my virginity to his roommate. Okay. It's a whole thing. And I knew like that you're very interested now.
Go on.
Go on.
Tell me more.
They were both comedians. Come on, there's clearly I have a whole history.
You have a
that I
type,
go through.
yeah.
I have a type. But like that was how I felt like I had to find validation from guys, was to feel like I was sexually attractive to them. Now, his roommate was I did end up losing my virginity to him. And he was also my first kiss 3 years before that, or 3.5 years before that. Was my first kiss when I was 17.
Consistency. Nice.
I could have slept with him and lost my virginity at that time as well. But I was like, oh, I can't do this. Like, I was 17 and he was like 11 years older than me. Like, wrong on a lot of
Jesus.
levels, okay?
All right.
No,
Okay.
I did not think anything wrong of it at the time, but like,
Yeah.
But he was a comedian who I had seen perform the year before that, and I was like enamored by. So I'm like, it's like, ooh, I can't
Wait,
believe
you kissed
feelings.
Louis C.K. when you were 17?
No, it was not him. Thank goodness. It is not someone that anyone watching this will have heard of.
Sure, it wasn't.
Unless you're friends with him, probably. It's like, no, he's not famous. I don't think he's famous. But he did perform at a famous venue for a while, which he was doing when I lost my virginity to him. But anyway, so like I felt like that was the way to get attention from guys, was to use my sexuality, which I had no clue what the fuck I was doing, because I wasn't like attractive in that way to people. But so I sought validation through sexual attraction, and I recognize now, like that's probably what I was doing when I hooked up with Lee again, when he and I got back together. I was like, validate me, I want to know that you're still attracted to me, let's have sex, without sorting through our issues.
Did you say that in that voice?
That is not how it went down. No, it like the reality of the situation was more like I wanted to sleep with him, but I would refuse to do so unless he until he told me directly that he wanted to kiss me, and then
consent.
Yeah. No, I didn't even tell him that I wanted to until he I could tell he was hinting at it. I'm like, I know what you're trying. I'm not going to do your work for you. I was like, what are you trying to say, Lee? What are you trying to say?
I'm not going to do your work for you.
I'm not. I wasn't. I'm like, because I'd spent all this time in the past like chasing after him. I'm like, I'm not chasing him anymore. I'm not. Yeah. So I was like, what are you trying to say to me? What are you trying to say? And they was like,
so would you say that sex is your vice, or that seeking validation through sex was your vice?
Probably the seeking validation through sex, and probably seeking validation, like external validation in general, probably was a big vice of mine. Whether so not necessarily sex, but like that was a way that I definitely wanted to. I felt like that was the path to get me the kind of relationship that I wanted with a man. Yeah. I think in hindsight, women learned that it is not how you get the relationship that you want. But that's kind of what we're taught with movies in a way. Yeah. Even though if that's not how the world actually works.
Well, I mean, I was, to that point, my dad, when I was little, he would watch a lot of the old Zorro films, like the black and white Zorro movies.
Nice.
And there was this one that I remember where, and I've always fantasized this in my mind, or romanticized it in my mind. There was this one movie, I have no idea which one it was, but Zorro is on he's in the town square, he's on top of like one of the buildings. There's a big bell tower in the center of this town, and like the bad guy has the damsel in distress, pinned down. He's just about to kill her. And Zorro, seeing this, he pulls out his whip, a la Indiana Jones, and he whips it to the bell tower, and he swings down around the bell tower and then kicks the bad guy in the head and saves the day, right?
Nice.
So I've always had this romanticized idea that Florence Nightingale effect. That's how I get women to fall in love with me. Because same thing, when I was a kid, I wasn't attractive to the girls that I was attracted to. And so it was always this, oh, let me be your knight in shining armor. And, Florence Nightingale effect has been in our subconscious culture for
a long time.
Eons. And we believe it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I have this whole fantasy of wanting to have guys chase after me, because that would be like the sign that they're really in love with me. I've done stand up about this. I think I've talked about this on a stream in the past as well. Like that was one of the reasons that I stayed with my ex-husband, because like I broke up with him shortly after we started dating. And then he tried to win me back, and it worked. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
I was with this woman once, and she, we were getting all hot and heavy on the couch, and her 4-year-old daughter was sleeping in the next room. So
oh gosh,
it was a little weird. Anyway, in the middle of things, she goes, it's always been a fantasy of mine that the guy that I was with would like pin me down and force me down and kind of rape me.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
What? She's like, yeah, it's one of those fantasies that I've always wanted to have. And I'm like, do you want me to do that to you? She's like, no.
But if you want to.
No, I can understand why you would think that if she's saying that to you right in that moment.
But she's like, no, I don't want you to do that. It's just always been a fantasy that I really want somebody to do that to me. And I'm like,
why are you telling me?
I can't. Well, no, I'm not. No, I can't. I won't.
Bless your soul.
I won't. It was too weird. It was too weird. If that's what you want me to do, I need to hear you explicitly say it. I need it in writing.
Yeah.
I need to protect myself.
I need to be notarized with at least 1 or 2 witnesses on the dot line. Yeah.
I was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, no, bless you for, like Sharad said, for not going along with it, though, because I think there's a lot of guys who would just be like all for it, right? And I wonder if the reason that she kind of backed out of it is because you clearly were giving her the impression that you were not into it at all, right? Like,
if I'm truly being honest, I would have performed that task for her if that's what she wanted me to do. But the dissonance of, do you want me to do it? No. I just really want someone to do it. Like, you're clearly telling me that you want me to do that right now, but I can't accept that. I can't take that chance.
I have a lot of respect for any man who will hold back from any kind of advance from a woman where it seems like it's not a good idea to follow through. And again, going back to the Canadian guy who I did not sleep with, the one I didn't sleep with, one of the reasons that I have so much respect for him and am still stay in touch with him to this day is because despite the fact that I was throwing myself at him, and look, I'll be honest, I did give him a blowjob after his roommate taught me how to do it. That is so wrong. I know that's wrong, but
so right. But so right as well.
He was 100% aware that I was also there to see his roommate and what I was there for. So like, you know, but he was also similar age, like 12 years older than me. I was 20 at the time. So he was like, you know, very conscious of the fact that I'm clearly too young to be doing this kind of crap. And so he didn't want to take advantage of me. So he like turned me down. And I have so much respect for him because of that. Granted, it made me want him more, but and I flew back to Canada like months later because I thought that I had a chance with him and he still turned me down. But like, that's a whole thing. Anyway, that is the reason why he inspired my short film that I made for my student film when I studied my graduate diploma in media production the following year, was because it was basically that story. Like slightly modified, but you know, the short film was about this young Australian girl who goes off to, you know, Canada on her own to find herself. She ends up like meeting this comedian at she ends up working at a bar, I think, and she ends up meeting this stand-up comedian there. And wait, I think she got a job at there because she met the comedian first. Anyway, there's this whole thing, and they get a little like busy, but they don't sleep together because he turns her down because he's like, no, we shouldn't be. Oh no, I think she decides not to. I reverse the story. Like, it's her decision. In my story, he was the one that put a stop to it. But yeah, I love those kinds of stories because I find them very inspiring to my own creativity. Like, so many of my stories that I've told, whether it's through filmmaking or writing or stand-up comedy or whatever, been inspired by my real life and the people who have given me those kinds of experiences.
That's cool.
Agreed. Hey, Sharad, what are your vices?
Vices.
Where do I start? Actually, before we go onto my bit, there's something I wanted to piggyback off Mike with in terms of the dirty talk. This wasn't me, by the way, but the minute you said that, this triggered a memory. So when I was 18 years old, I was in Hull, England, doing university, and I lived with. I was roommates with I think there were 5 of us in one house, and all of us were kind of like very laddie lads. We all were like. Athletes, we'd always go out, we enjoyed games, we're blah blah blah, but had the same sense of humor. And we were on a night out, and one of our friends brought this girl back home, James. Should probably give him a different name, but whatever, James, it's out there. Whatever, it's fine. And,
you're not giving his last name. You're not doxing him because that's his address too.
Wait, James Poindexter?
Yeah. And usually, whenever we have a night out, we always tend to we'll go out for breakfast together to talk about the previous night. And Jimmy brought a girl back home. So the next morning, we all remember like she left pretty early. We were having breakfast, and so obviously we were like, "So Jimmy, how'd it go?" And he's like, "I think I kind of ruined it." And we were like, what? So this now all of us before we're all hungover. We're like. But minute he said kind of ruined all of us went, how so, Jimmy? You know, and he's like, well, while they were doing the deed, like, you know, he asked us anything you want to try. And she said the same thing with what you mentioned, like, oh, just talk dirty to me or whatever. And he didn't know how to do that. So he was just like, oh, you're a naughty girl, all that kind of stuff. And she was like, you know, obviously it wasn't working. And she's like, oh, come on. And he just went from one spectrum to the other. And he just went, I'll never forget this line because all of us were in tears. He just went, oh, you're a fucking ugly bitch, honey. just as loud as he could. And the minute he said that, she was underneath him and she just went, get off. And she walked out of the house.
Wow.
And we were in tears, man. All of us were like howling for like hours. I haven't thought about that in decades. Thank you so much for that.
Wow. That's a meatball.
So that's pretty much things not to do. But
It's
I'm gonna
hard
call
in
this
those situations, right?
I'm going to call this episode "Remembering Things We Thought We'd Forgotten."
Oh boy.
oh, that was so funny. Could you imagine though?
Like when you don't know what you're doing and somebody is giving you instruction, like so I went to cooking school in college. Like that was my formal education. And I had an internship where I was supposed to grill chicken at the grilling station, right? And the chef said, like, all right, just like, grill it, make sure that it's at an internal temperature that it's supposed to be at. And I don't know how you fuck up grilling chicken, but somehow I managed to. And it's just that, like, you're told how to do something, but then you second guess it and you don't exactly know. And the person giving you the instructions, they think they're being clear, but it is ambiguous at best. So you take a stab in the dark and, like, I don't know, you're a fucking ugly bitch. I know. Like, and the person in that story, the woman who told him to start talking dirty to him, she doesn't get to be angry at the result when he, granted, I wasn't there. I don't know your friend, Jimmy Poindexter. I don't know the scenario, but like on principle alone, she doesn't get to be upset. She doesn't get to say, "Get off."
He fulfilled the assignment. Yeah.
Yeah, like, what did you want from me? I don't know how to do what you want me to do.
I literally just met you an hour ago. This is the best I can do. So
Give me clearer instructions is such an autistic person thing to say. I need clear instructions, step by step. But so we do.
Yeah, but I love the fact that it's just something that I still remember 20 years later. It's just so funny.
Like, my memories today have been a lot of 20 years ago stuff too. So there you go.
A trip down nostalgic road.
Yeah. Supposedly we still have 4 viewers. So if you want to ask us any questions, drop them in the chat. If you haven't subscribed yet, why not? You're watching, aren't you?
You know what I just realized? Your friend Jimmy is Lego Jimmy.
No, it's Timmy.
Oh, yeah?
Timmy. Oh.
Sorry, no.
I thought I made a good connection.
Sharad, you still haven't answered the Vice question, though. You sidestepped it.
Yeah,
I feel like there's something like really deep under the surface there that he's trying to avoid.
I mean, I like to collect human skin, but other than that, I don't know. I think like my vice is funnily enough, I actually had. Oh God, there you
go. everything, everywhere, all at once, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
You know it.
I know it. Yeah, I showed that movie to my daughter. Anyway, I'm interrupting.
Oh, that's funny.
Go on.
Actually, funnily enough, it was before I fell ill. I had a really, really bad. I can admit this now. I had a really, really bad drinking problem. Where and because because I'm a creative, I write. It helps me as well. So even though I'm working, it didn't really impair me, but obviously it did, and it got to a point where it was so bad. But and I think it was when that actually led to me overeating as well, because obviously, I'm sure you two know, when you drink a lot, you get the munchies, and the next thing you know, you're getting really, really fat. So that kind of got me in a really bad situation, and then I fell ill, which is a different thing entirely. But those were my 2 major vices. So, whatever you put in your mouth, be careful.
Yeah. Don't put dicks in there.
Just don't. Just don't.
That's
hitting the back of the throat. There you go. Don't forget to spit.
I can't. swallowing, no swallowing. I've
No,
done that
yeah, there you
on
go.
occasion. I've done it anyway.
They say it's
What-
a good
what am
skin
I-
cream.
Apparently.
Is it though?
I
Is
don't
it
know.
though?
I think
I've
you should
never-
test it.
If
You
a
should test
guy,
it and get back to us, yeah.
if a guy gets his jizz on me, I make him wash it off for me. that is my secret.
Okay.
Hey, you never know. It could be it could be the fountain of eternal youth. You don't know that. So yeah.
Here's a question for Sharad that is
What?
not applicable to you, Dominica.
Hmm.
Sharad, have you ever tasted your own essence?
See, this
What?
is a tricky one.
Why is that not applicable to me? I have tastes.
Yeah, but you don't have jizz. So
And I don't
All right.
have
All right.
juices excreted while I'm.
all right, fair enough. Okay.
Right.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, let's open this up. Dominica, Sharad, have either of you ever tasted your own essence freely?
Yes.
So like there's the
Yes.
great.
I have done it of my own free will, on my own. I have done it when my good dad is going to be watching this later. Okay. Anyway, I've done it as a part of trying to turn a guy on while I'm doing a webcam thing with him. Yeah, it's
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, like I think the weirdest thing that I can think of is when someone gives you a little bit of the and then she goes for a smooch afterwards, you're like,
yeah. Yeah, I
You know
feel
what
like
I'm talking
I
about.
feel like
You know what I'm
no,
talking
I know what you're talking about because guys will do that too after going down on you. I'm like, even though I've clearly admitted that I've been fine with tasting myself, but like if it's too much, it's like it's different.
yeah.
It's different having a huge amount in your mouth compared to licking it off your finger.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So I was going to go back. Ziso is still with us. Thank you for watching. I don't know if you've
Poor James. Yeah.
Poor
but
James.
Thank you so much for
He's doing fine now, by the way, so it's okay.
Well, it was 20 years ago, so I
It
hope
was,
so.
it was,
Is
yeah.
he married or single?
No, he's still very much single. Right now, he is a sous chef in Paris, so he's doing quite well.
All right, I'm googling sous chef
Maybe.
Paris Jimmy.
But look, I'm single. I'm just like, I'm curious. Maybe I want some of that, you ugly bitch.
Fucking ugly bitch. I'll put in a good word for you. Put it this way.
Lord knows that I've had very bad self-esteem in the past. I'd probably go for it.
Yeah, why
No,
not?
I'm a different person these days. I can't.
Does he
put up
work
with
at Lauderie in Paris?
Maybe.
Oh my god!
I found him.
Let me check. Oh no. Let me check.
I'll send this photo to you.
Wait, you're let's not dox people here. Come on.
Yeah.
No. I'm gonna send it to Sharad.
Yeah.
Do that. Yeah.
Look, Zisu's having a laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Dominica, you're getting it too.
All right.
No, it's not him. It's a different
It's
one.
not him.
No.
Okay.
No.
Good. We're not doxing anyone. That's great.
No.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I think we answered that question. We don't have any more questions in the chat. Should we pick another card?
Next question.
We could do, but unfortunately I've got to dash off in 5 minutes. So
Dash in
Okay.
5 minutes. Well, we can end the stream now. We're almost
No,
at like
no.
the
Yeah.
3-hour mark anyway, right?
That's
so
true.
that's
true.
it. We can end it. Yeah.
I still have to feed the cats.
how is your pussy doing, by the way, Mike?
Which one?
Yeah, hell yes. I thought it too. Actually, I was just thinking about lady pussy. I'll be honest.
So Brazos is he is fast asleep on the bed over here.
Oh,
And
bless him.
Athena keeps popping her head in, and then but here I got to show you Brazos because he is the way he sleeps. Look at this guy. He's upside down.
Oh, bless him.
Thank
Oh, so cutie patootie.
Yeah. So
Cats always sleep in the most amazing and what looks like uncomfortable ways.
he twists.
Mm.
So like the back of his head, if you follow the back of his head, it becomes the bottom part of his feet. And you're like, wait, how do you twist that way?
They have better spines than we do.
Literally.
With 2 herniated discs. That is not
gosh.
wrong. Yeah.
When would be a good time for us to meet up next week?
Let's chat about it after the stream. I can end it first.
Sure.
The audience doesn't need to watch that part. No. We'll have a chat afterwards.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, let's finish up now. If you are still watching, oh my God, thank you so much for staying through until the end. I love that people are watching so much of this. If you have not already subscribed, please do. It really helps. And then you can get notified when we go live.
Send in questions.
Yeah, send in questions.
Please.
Leave a comment on any of the videos. I will see them, and we'll answer them in an upcoming stream. And if you watch live, you can ask us a question live. So yeah, love all of that. Yeah, hit the likes, do all the things that you're supposed to do to drive engagement, because it pushes the video out to more people.
Actually, tell people about it so that
Yes.
other people can ask questions.
Yes, do that too. And just
Do that.
tell people, you don't even have to watch the whole thing. Like, watch like 10 minutes and leave a question. Like, I don't no, it is, watch as much as you can. I do. I'm doing my best to add chapters now to make it, people can skip to whatever parts they are interested in if they don't have time to watch the whole thing as well. So going to be working on that in future streams. I did it with the last stream. I haven't gone back to do it with the first 4 episodes yet. We'll see if I
And
end
here's
up
the thing.
doing
If
it.
you send in a question, I will mail you, whoever you are, a penny. A real gosh darn. And I mean this for real, for serious. For anyone who sends in a question from here on out, current question, and it has to be a question, not just a, hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, an
like
actual personal, deep, vulnerable type question that we have to answer.
I will send you a genuine American Abraham Lincoln penny in the mail.
Wherever you are in the world.
True, I will. But you also have to send Dominica your mailing address too. So
yeah. You can follow me on Instagram. That's an option as well. I think the Instagram link should be in the description of this video. Should be. I think I put it there. I'm still learning YouTube. I've been on YouTube since 2007, I think. That's how long this channel has been around. But I've not been active or very active until the last few years. But anyway.
And let's see if we can get Talk Mock as an official sponsor.
Oh, that's so cool.
Talk Mock.
That's awesome.
I have a genuine Indiana Jones Lego set.
Oh, my genuine one is right there.
Yeah, you got the boulder one.
Is that the boulder? Yeah. Nice.
I have the one with the Egyptian statues.
Ooh.
Yeah. Let me just pull up the last few comments from Zizou. Cats twist like they are a snake with legs.
It's so true.
True.
It's so true. This little guy is just the most adorable. If you don't have Maine Coon cats, get one because I'm committed.
You're committed. I love that Mike is so supportive of my channel, and yet he doesn't share it on his social media. What are you doing, Mike? You should be promoting the show too. Get people to watch. It's not just my friend. And that is how I get Mike to never show up again. I'm going to promote your Pineapple Improv show when I'm a guest on there.
This is true.
Because I'm self-indulgent like that, and I want attention. What's that I said? My vice was external validation.
Get validated by Dominica. As I'm doing this. Yeah. I must do this a lot.
Anyway, no, I love having the opportunity to show up on other people's things. I love promoting my friends' stuff. So anyway, I'm complaining. I don't want to be a complainer. All right, Zisu says cats are the best, and also commented on your talk mark. And then
I haven't even started. It's still in the package, so I couldn't even tell you the quality.
When did you get that?
Christmas.
Here, look, the pieces. Oh, let's see. All right, so here's the book.
Right? Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. Wow, that's a thick one. That's what she said.
Yes.
Like the pieces all look very Lego-esque.
Nice.
It's hard to see like through a plastic bag through the camera on the internet, but yeah, they look very
nice. When are you going to be able to work on this? Do you think you'll be able to get it done this weekend?
Oh no, definitely not.
Join me for my next Lego stream, Mike. I'm still building the X Mansion. That's where I'm at right now.
Oh wow, nice. That looks good.
X Mansion.
So good. Oh, I love it.
Oh wow.
In progress. That's and I'm partway through the second story of that middle section now as well.
Nice.
So that's where we're
cool,
at.
Man.
So next Lego stream, whatever I decide to schedule that for, who knows? That might be next week too. It might not. We'll find out. Follow the channel. Look up I post the upcoming streams in the when I do have it scheduled. That's how to find out, is looking at the channel. All right, I'm gonna end it so that we can. How can I end it at this?
This is the perfect way to end it. What are you talking about?
All right.
Perfect.
Let's everyone. Okay. Sharad and I should go off camera. We'll just end the stream. With Mike's cat, and there we go. Meow meow.